What is up? Welcome
What
back.
is it? I don't have the right screen pulled up. There we go. I was messing with something in the interlude there, and I came back. I was like, "Oh shit, we're on! I can't see what's going on."
Hell,
What is up, man?
did you miss us again?
Yeah, right.
Just a quick update before we get into everything. I don't want to speak too soon, but I allegedly got my internet fixed. It took weeks of trying to get it fixed, and I think it's fixed. But the only way to know if it's fixed or not is to do one of these. So we'll know. Yeah, we'll know soon enough. Because the only time it would really mess up on me it was when I was streaming. So
was when we were trying to podcast.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. But they came out a couple of times, and hopefully they took care of everything. But I really don't know. And if not, then we'll find out tonight, and I'll try to hotspot again. But we'll see.
I'm sending out a little thing here.
This is what you're supposed to do before we go live, Jared.
Yeah, I know, but that would be
too smart
to do, which is shit. Let's see. There we go. All right. Put a little thing on my story. Let's see. Is it playing? Why is it not making any noise? Oh well. I hope that worked. So anyway,
moving. How you been?
Uploading. Good. You know, it's funny. We don't talk as much now that we do the podcast as we did before. We still talk all the time, and we text, and we talk weekly. I don't ever go more than 3 or 4 days without hearing from you in some way, shape, or form. But we used to talk on the phone more, and now we don't as much because we saved the conversations for the podcast, right?
Well, that, and I think we're both way busier now. Like when a few months ago, everything just kind of slowed down with the whole COVID mess, and I went to a state where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm just going to kind of sit back and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. I know that I pre-shot like 9 videos, so I wasn't shooting a whole lot. I was just editing. But I don't know. It's just everything in the last 2 months maybe 3 months has just been insane.
Dude, I feel like the last 8 months has been insane for me with the kids and school, and they were out of school early at the end of last. See, usually, I don't know any of you guys that are parents out there that have kids at school age. Taylor, you have kids, but they're not quite at school age yet. So
I have a kid.
Well, so
for now,
right? I was like, that's right. But usually, there's only 2 or 3 months a year that you're screwed. I shouldn't say screwed because I love spending time with my kids, but there's only 2 or 3 months a year that's summer that they're here all the time. You can't get shit done because you're having to entertain them and do stuff and whatever. And the rest of the year, it's pretty mellow, right? They're at school 6 or 8 hours a day, or 6 hours a day, so you can get stuff done. Well, dude, we had an 8-month span where that wasn't the case. They got out early last year because of COVID. Then we had all summer. And then when school started back, we homeschooled for the first few months. It was just a lot. It was a lot. I love them, but I'm glad they're back at school. we
let them go like a true parent.
We let them go back 2 weeks ago now. And it was funny. We finally let him go back. I was the most paranoid person in the world because I have a dad that, Taylor's going through chemo and stuff. So we've been extremely careful with not wanting it to spread to him. So we've been more anal about stuff than most. Wasn't back to school a week and he got sick. Didn't get COVID, but he came home. He had a runny nose, a cough. And we're like, oh shit, come on. You got to be kidding me. I kept this kid away from everybody for 8 months. The first week he's sneezing and shit. But we did go get him tested and stuff because he couldn't go back to school without getting cleared. So we took him. He didn't have COVID. It was just allergies or a cold or something. So he's okay, but it was just a funny coincidence.
We go to Alex's dad's for lunch or dinner, not lunch, dinner every single week. And, usually on Thursdays, and it's so funny. No one else has had any kind of contact with anybody with COVID except for his girlfriend's daughter. It's we'll go over there, we'll have dinner, and 2 days later we get a text, and they're like, Addie came in contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID 2 days ago. Everybody needs to quarantine and get tested. And we're just every time. That's the only person which of course she works in public. She works in fast food, and there's only so much you can do, right?
Well, dude, and I don't want to get into this too much because it almost borderlines on political, and I'm sure everybody's COVIDed to death. That's all everybody. But is it just me, or are you fucking over it? I am so over it.
No, there was a news article I read 2-3 days ago that was about COVID fatigue and how it's a
Dude,
real
I've
thing,
got it
and
bad, bro.
not COVID, but like quarantine fatigue or something. Like this whole year has been really strange, and for me, it's unfortunate because I mean I have a 1-year-old daughter, or 18-month-old daughter now, and
Right.
all the things that you want to do in the first year, everything is off. Like she's 18 months old,
Yeah.
which for some may be a little young for trick or treating, but I mean, we still wanted to take her trick or treating, but now it's like
I know a lot of people
we
are
can get
still
into this.
trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not. We're not doing it with our kids just because, man. It's like, you know what? Like a lot of people don't agree. A lot of people think COVID is like way overblown and like. But my whole thing is, like I said, I've got a super high risk situation with my family.
Yeah.
Both of my parents are elderly, and one of them is going through chemo. So, like,
Jeremy, you're elderly.
well,
So.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm in a high risk group. I'm over 65 now. But yeah, so I'm like overly paranoid more than most. So, but it's just, I'm just done, bro. I'm just done. Like I'm tired. I just want everything to go back to normal.
I want to go back to like, I'm going to break your heart a little bit here, Jeremy. I think we all feel the same, but I think the conservative estimates for things going back to normal is like this time next year.
It's never. Yeah, I don't think ever. Because here's the thing: when they get this under control, fuck, who's to say that we don't run into something else like this again? You know, it's like unleashing Pandora's box. Now that it's happened, I feel like there's always going to be a certain level of paranoia. Like you can't put that one back in the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll be there there'll be residuals of that for a long time.
Right.
But I'm saying like just kind of returning to normal life and not having to, socially distance and all that is going to be a while.
Well, dude,
before we go any further.
Okay. Yeah.
What's in your glass?
Nothing. Empty as a motherfucker.
Well, I told you I stopped and got something
right there, though, son. Oh, I'm going to tell you what that's all about. Not even going to tell you. Hey, I'm not even telling you what that's all about. That's a secret. That's coming. That's a secret. That's a prototype. That one actually has my signature.
You know that neck, right?
Let me see. That looks like High West. That's a High West neck. Which one is it?
Campfire.
That one supposedly has some Isla Scotch in it.
It does. I've had it before.
Supposedly it's got how they get the smokiness is a little bit of Isla, little blend of Isla mixed in with it there. I have not poured yet. I got this today. I told you earlier today, Taylor, but I'll tell everybody on the podcast since we're here talking. Since Taylor is what's the word we're looking for? Whiskey deficient and
wow.
Not you whiskey deficient as a person, meaning your area is whiskey deficient.
I'm in an underserved whiskey market.
Right. So
that's a tough cork.
So I didn't hear it though. That's weird. Usually really? the first cork is like that standard like sound effect that you would get on like a soundboard that very,
Yeah, it was loud.
Anyway, Taylor is in a whiskey deficient zone, right? So I found some Wee Beastie today, several bottles of it, and I told Taylor next time I was out and I saw it, I would grab a bottle. So I grabbed. He's got some Wee Beastie on the way up there here in the next day or so, or day,
or 6 months when it.
No, because I got to send you your knife for your video.
I know. I've been waiting on those.
But anyway, so while I was out, I got him some Wee Beastie. I got some Glen Morangi. I'm not exactly 100% sure how to pronounce it. The glare on this thing is not easy to contend with, but Glen Morangi 18. I've never had any Glen Morangi products. Glen Morangi? Morangi. I don't know. But I did taste this earlier. If you have anybody in your life that is not a whiskey or a Scotch fan, I would say this would be a great whiskey to get them on board. This is like the sweetest, most friendly, nicest, fruity. Just, I don't think I've ever had a more, my wife even liked this and she hates whiskey.
Oh, I tried that experiment. You remember we were talking about how Alex loved the smell of Isla Scotch when she was pregnant last time, normally hates it.
Roger.
I had her smell some Lagavulin the other day. She's dry heaved. So that's a negative. That's a negative.
And the cigar, let me show you this before I take all the bands off. The cigar for the day is zoom me in, Taylor. Zoom me in, Mick. Is a Plasencia Alma del Fuego. This was in this month's luxury cigar box. I know that we don't read comments this time of the thing, but I have noticed my boy Alec Bradley's in there.
You say that every podcast, so you technically do.
I see it out of the corner of my eye. I try not to, but I see it out of the corner of my eye, and every now and then, like
we all know that's a lie because your vision's bad.
Well, that's why I'm saying I really honestly don't see it a lot because my laptop is outside of old man eye range. Like I can barely see it when I lean in. I did see earlier somebody said something about, ooh, somebody's got a desk. Yeah, this is the desk that I normally use in some of my videos. Normally I don't use it in the podcast, but I need to film a luxury cigar club video tomorrow, and I already had this set up, and I was like, I'm not breaking that down for the podcast, and it gives me somewhere to put my shit. So desk.
Well, what's on the old wrist this week?
It's funny. I was just telling my wife, I'm going to need to buy a watch soon because for the sole purpose of like, when we do these, I say the same 2 or 3 things. I need to go ahead and pull the trigger on that Black Bay. That's happening soon. I don't know when it's happening, but it's happening soon.
Well, I said, and I don't know if I can even do this now. I don't know if I can swing it. I said in 2020, I was going to buy a Speedmaster.
Ooh, Speedy's a different devil. My standard Seiko 5 Sport SKX, not wannabe new version of the SKX. Oh, I thought you were going to have the other one, or you're going to bring the other one up. Though, right?
I'm going to bring it up, but this is what I've been wearing. Gotcha. I don't know. I go through periods where I just absolutely love this watch. I mean, I always like it. I'm just saying, like, I go through periods where I'm like, I need to wear this thing. I love it. But what I did and what you can look forward to, I was actually going to upload this today and I ran out of time. But this is what
that's the one I thought you were going to
show. I assembled this. So this is from DIY Watch Club, and I put this together yesterday. Pretty sweet little project. But there will be a video on it on my channel. I don't know, probably next week now, because you know how it goes. It's the end of the month and I've got other videos that I have to make now. I got 90% done with this video, ran out of time, and now I can't finish it. I got to go to another video because deadlines.
I think I went a little too hard on that cut. It'll work.
And finally, what's in your pocket?
Oh, I got something different there.
I bet I know what it is.
Is before we move on.
Yeah.
I've been wearing this a ton. Dude, here's the thing. I've got the Oris. I love the Oris. Probably my favorite watch in my collection currently, right? But I find that this damn Seiko, man, it's just like it just keeps on ticking, bro. Like I don't worry about it because it's not a hard to find watch. It's not an expensive watch, but it's nice, but it's not crazy expensive. So I don't worry about it. It's a great everydayer, man.
Guess what?
What?
I have a return label for my Christopher Ward.
You're sending it back?
I'm not returning it. It's actually for a repair. It's under warranty. It's losing a whole minute every day.
Really?
And somehow the GMT hand is misaligned. I've not done anything to it. I've been very gentle with it. I don't know why, but it's now losing 1 minute every day and the GMT hand is misaligned. So that sucks. But I bet I know what watch is in your pocket.
What
I mean, knife. Yeah, no, knife. Not watch, knife.
You want to call it before I pull it out, see if you're right? Yes, I.
So these are actually pretty sweet. They've really changed the Sheepdog.
Where's the focus? This is a new camera, so I'm fucked up. Hold on. Where's my focus point?
This is the new Sheepdog. This is a Vanguard Sheepdog.
Dude, I love this fucking knife. I love it. Love it.
I'd be interested to see how you like it compared to the full Sheepdog with like titanium frame lock.
Well, here's the thing.
That one is the tank. That one is 7 ounces.
Here's the thing about that, right? Okay. I think I would like this one better. Now, I won't say for sure until I've had it in my hand. I can't say that, right? But I will say I don't always love frame locks.
Yeah.
Sue me. Like, I don't always like frame locks.
My biggest gripe with all of the Sheepdogs, and I think they're officially coming out with different versions of the Sheepdog. I love the lines and the way this knife fits in the hand. I love it.
Dude, you know my favorite part is? This right here, this little divot
Yeah.
right here for doing like detail work, opening boxes and stuff. It's fucking fantastic.
But the thing is, when you make a cleaver and you make a cleaver a flipper, it defeats the purpose of a cleaver, because the whole point of a cleaver is to be able to lay that blade flat, but the flipper tab gets in the way of that.
I see what you're saying.
So I think they have
Yeah.
one with a hole and one with a thumb stud coming.
A hole would be cool. Fuck a thumb stud. I mean, don't get me wrong. Thumb studs are fine. I have plenty of knives that have thumb studs, but I prefer a flipper or a hole. Hole's my favorite because I like to spidey flick knives. I just find that to be a comfortable way to open a knife.
You heard it here first, folks. Jeremy prefers holes. He loves holes.
I do love a good hole.
Oof.
But I also, the micarta on here is well done. It's a nice canvas micarta. I would much rather have these over, because the normal one has what? Titanium scales?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would much rather have these.
And it's 7 ounces. It's a thicker blade stock. It's a heavy knife. It's almost as heavy as your copper PM2.
Right. See, in this, like,
it's very
plenty,
thin.
It's plenty though, dude. For an EDC knife, like, what the hell? I'm not chopping down fucking trees. Like, this is more than I need.
This has been my knife for the last few days. The old bacon synapse.
The old bacon. Hey, I was going to ask you, I'm not familiar. And I always say familiar because I'm a redneck. It's familiar, I know, but I always throw a fur in there because I'm like from Kentucky. This BD1N, right? That's the steel on this. I'm not familiar with that blade steel. Is it worth a shit? I mean, I've cut a lot of stuff with it. So far, it's holding an edge great, and it's very sharp out of box. So
if I am not mistaken, it's like a slightly better VG10.
Oh, well then, yeah, I'm perfectly good with that.
Or maybe equal to VG10. I'm not like super into blade steels. I'm not a metallurgist or anything.
The pocket clip on this, I think, is pretty well done. It's not quite a deep carry, but it's still pretty well. It's
like a spoon.
Yeah, it's nice though. It's comfortable. It's nice. I really like the detail carved in the micarta here. Like, I'm very, very pleased with this knife. But we could do a whole episode about blade steel.
Yeah. Well, the other knife, I'm carrying 2 knives because I have a new knife that was a surprise to me. I talked about this on Instagram today and in the Discord server today and yesterday. This was a huge surprise to me. Probably one of the nicest gifts I've ever received. This is a Birdvis. I think that's how it's pronounced. Birdvis.
What the
Birdvis? I don't know how it's pronounced. But I've wanted this knife for a long time. This is a large Hitchcock, and it is a custom slip joint. And
a pretty knife,
dude. Work sharp. They just sent it out to me. Don't really know why, but thanks.
They think you're
I mean, these are very hard to come by.
They heard you were a power bottom. They were trying to butter you up.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And you want to see how I've been carrying this? Because it's really kind of tough for slip joints. I don't like carrying slip joints unless I have a holster or something. But this is like 80% of my EDC.
I really like carrying a slip joint, and I mentioned it in one of my videos before. You got some snowflakes out there that you bust out a knife in public and you go to do something and you're like, schwack. People get all fucking weird because there's a lot of
if you break out your EDC cleaver in the middle of Walmart, yeah.
Right. Where you pull out a slip joint, get the old, nobody gets butt hurt by that, right? Even the most snowflake of snowflakes. Nobody gets weird about the old grandpa slip joint. So I don't know, man. I enjoy carrying a slip joint. There's also something kind of meditative about the process of using a slip joint and opening and whatnot.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of slip joints, and this right here is honestly just next level. The finishing on this thing, the ergos, everything about this knife is just look. I can barely close it one-handed.
It's got a nice half stop.
It's tight.
Does it got the old walk and talk?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very, very happy about this. I've wanted a really nice slip joint. I've got a few like Great Eastern cutleries that I like the beer and sausage, which is the most Jeremy knife ever made.
Dude, that is the greatest name for a knife ever.
It's got a beard comb. I don't know why a knife has a beard comb, but it's got a knife and a fork too. These things are pretty cool. Oh, thanks for the swishing sounds. I appreciate it. Actually, I haven't even taken a sip of this yet.
God damn, that's good. That's a friendly scotch right there, buddy. If you don't like this, there's no hope in you ever liking scotch.
Oh
If
man,
if that is too harsh for your palate, you need to drink something else. You need to go get a fucking White Claw.
man. So if you're not familiar with this, the High West Campfire is a blend of straight rye whiskey, bourbon, and malt Scotch whiskey. And man, it's just such a good blend.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is some good shit.
I've heard good things about it. I think I've only had it one time so long ago that I don't remember how I felt about it, but I've heard lots of good things about it and lots of people like it. High West, my buddy's the bourbon junkies, man. Well, more Dan than Sean. He is a High West fanatic, man. He loves High West products. Big fan.
Well, the one time I had it, it was smuggled into Utah when we were driving the Oregon Trail.
In the old prison wallet?
Well, I mean, it just made sense. Like High West whiskey while we're driving the Oregon Trail, and it was smuggled across state lines. Like, it was a good time. I liked it. We finished the night, and there was like half a bottle left. And I was like, no, we are finishing this bottle, and we did. And
you just like
we couldn't take it with us, so I was like, we are finishing this. I love this too. Look at the bottom of the bottle.
Oh, I can't see it. That's the glass is all uneven and shit.
Yeah, I love it.
No, them.
They talk shit about this one though.
Oh,
just the American Prairie bourbon.
Well, I actually see them in chat. They don't like all of them. I don't think there's any distillery other than Brown-Forman that everything they make is good, right? And I joke around about that. Even everything Brown-Forman makes isn't good. I just joke around about that because I love Brown-Forman products in general. But definitely not everything High West makes is good. But I know Dan, one of his favorite whiskeys of all, one of his favorite. He has about 1 million favorites because he's kind of like me. He gets excited about everything. But one of his favorites is the Midwinter's Night Dram. I think that's the name of it. Loves that shit. He used to talk about. I haven't really heard him mention it much lately. Maybe he's lost some love with the High West products. I haven't heard him talk about them as much as he used to.
I don't know, but I did see this. I got to highlight it. High West is distilled in Utah, but the thing is, we just barely crossed into Utah. So we were driving from Cheyenne, Wyoming into Utah. We barely crossed the state line, and then we drove out. So I think I don't know where we went from there, but
I think Dan doesn't like the Midwinter's Night Dram as much anymore because he drinks so much George Dickel. He loves Dickel. I don't know if anybody knows Dan, but they know if he likes anything, he loves Dickel. So since he's in chat, I had to say that just for he fucking hates it. He hates it so bad. He fucking can't stand it. Oh God. Plus it's just funny to say Dan likes Dickel. Little play on words there.
Dan likes Dickel and Jeremy likes holes.
Hey.
Well, since we're here and since we're here and made it through all of that,
by the way, did we ever decide on a topic?
Yeah. The title of this is the worst Halloween ever.
The worst Halloween.
But why does it take us 25 minutes to get through like a quick pocket check and what's in our glasses?
Because that's what's fun, right?
The answer to that question is not that's what's fun. The answer is Jeremy real quick Sires. Guys, I have to tell you, Jeremy and I don't talk nearly as much as we used to. We just mentioned that. But when I call Jeremy and I need like a 2-word answer, and it's just faster for me to call sometimes. I'm like, look,
long fucking got a call for that, brother.
2 minutes, Jeremy. I have to go. Alex is wondering where I am, and I've got to go. And it's like 45 minutes later, and I'm like, Jeremy, focus for 2 seconds. I have to get off the phone. You can keep talking, but I'm going to have to hang up because I got to go. And he's like, real quick, and then just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it takes 25 minutes for us to get through real quick,
Really
one
can't
last
get
thing.
focus. Um,
You're gonna have to learn how to focus a Sony camera. It takes some time. It
well,
really does.
it's just different, right? I tell you what, though, the autofocus, the face detect on this fucking thing is next level.
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to the big boy Sonys. I used the A6500 for most of my videos for a long time, and then I upgraded to I have an A7 III and an A7R3, and it took me so long to get used to them. But yeah, you guys, I finally converted Jeremy into a Sony user, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm like a proud father.
Dude, it's I hate to admit it. Oh, my uncle's in here. What's up, Tony? Um, where was I at? Oh, I got fucking derailed because fucking squirrel. um, I hate to admit it because I was such a a Canon fanboy for so long, and I still am a fan of Canon. I think Canon makes great glass. They make some of the best glass in the industry. They make good cameras, but you know, Sony finally came out with a camera that I think beat the offering that Canon came out with at the same time. Clear winner in my book. Normally, I could lean on Canon for color science, and the autofocus in Canons was always kind of known that dual pixel auto was always kind of known to rack a little smoother and just be a little better autofocus system. But Sony's caught up in the autofocus and surpassed them in many ways, in my opinion. And the color science is a lot better in Sony's now. I use a Venislut on some S-Log 3 footage, and you do a little, correct your highlights and your contrast and stuff, and then slap a Venislut on there because the Venice series cameras. Holy shit, that stuff looks good. And it's like 3 clicks. It's like a couple little tweaks and a drop and bang. You get it to Rec 709, you drop that Venislut on it. Oh, god damn it.
Literally no one knows what you're talking about anymore.
No? Did I go too far?
Yeah. Also, when you say Venice Lut, you say it really fast and it sounds like Venice Slut. So
well, that could be a good thing too. I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm just putting that out there.
I've
That's
never
kind
been
of
to
what
Venice,
it sounds
but
like.
if I did, I'd like to find a nice slut. Just saying.
Well, anyway, what we were planning on talking about today was just kind of how we touched on it earlier, how this whole year has been weird and how nothing is quite what we planned. And especially like now, I talked about it a few episodes ago about how this season, fall, is my favorite time of year. Nothing compares to it, like going to a chicken stew, drinking beer, whiskey, campfires, like the whole shebang, everything about it. Fall is my absolute favorite. And this year it's just fallen flat, which really sucks because it doesn't even
fallen flat. Fall, see what you did there.
it never lasts long enough. Like even on a normal year, fall just kind of, for us, it just kind of breezes by. I know you get like 2 days of fall down in Florida. We normally get a few weeks of it at least, but this year it was just like nothing happened and nothing was going on. And I don't know. That alone has made me not depressed, but just bummed.
We get no fall here, man. It goes basically summer, 3 days of winter, summer. No, we get a little bit. We get a couple, like about a month and a half on either side of winter. That's really nice, pleasant weather. And then we get a month and a half or 2 months of winter, which winter for us isn't the same as winter everywhere else. Winter for us is like at night, it might drop down in the high mid 40s. Like that's winter. During the day, it's in like the 50s or 60s. It's like that's winter here.
Honestly, our winters aren't too terribly different. Like we have a little colder days, but the average winter weather is like 50-ish, 40s, 50s.
Yeah, I mean, that's tolerable, man. It ain't like, our good folks up in Canada.
No.
Ooh,
we will also get some days in like the teens, but it doesn't last long.
I was saying my uncle, he's in the chat. They do a podcast, Five Dirty Bikers. So if you're into motorcycles and stuff, go check that out. But we were joking around because he lives up in Kentucky still, where I'm originally from. And he'll be like, today it's like 10. And I'm like, yeah, see, that's not a temperature. That's like a freezer setting. Like people shouldn't live where it's 10. Like that's just fucking dumb. Like 10 is so cold, man. Like that is like where you're talking about like 40s, 50s, like that's tolerable. When it starts getting down to like single digits, I don't mind it every so often having some cold days. I miss having really cold days. It's been a long time since we had a really good winter. And by good winter, I mean lots of snow and
and ice and stuff. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I mean, I do. I appreciate it. But in North Carolina, the running joke is if we get a snow day, it's gone by noon, and it's like 70 in the afternoon. Like you
Because
get
it warms up and everything melts.
yeah, you have snow in the morning and hot weather in the afternoon. Sucks sometimes,
Well,
but
the thing that sucks about, because I've lived in the North. I was born in Kentucky and I lived up in Baltimore, Maryland for 6 or 7, 8 years. I don't remember, somewhere between 6 and 8 years. So I mean, I've lived in some pretty chilly areas. The cold almost doesn't bother, and I think we've talked about this in the podcast before. The cold does not bother me as much as the gray.
yeah.
The gray, bro. The gray especially in the Northeast. I've heard people that live out in like Colorado and other areas kind of in the Midwest say it's not as bad there. They get more sun. But like I know a lot of places I've lived in the northeastern part of the US. In the winter, man, you'll get like 6 or 8 weeks of just gray. You don't see the fucking sun for like weeks on end. It's just gray, fucking gray. And it wears on you, bro. Like I just want to see the sun. Please, the fucking blue sky.
Speaking of that, I genuinely think that's why I kind of hate this office.
I never, gray?
Well, just no sun. I have no windows, no anything. It's like a dungeon in here. But fortunately, I'll be moving, and hopefully that'll be set up early next year, and I can, get back on it. I really genuinely think that affects my productivity in here, is just not seeing the outside world. If I see it getting
go in a cave.
Yeah, if I can see like people moving outside and the sun moving across the sky, like I can see time elapsed. But in here, the way it is currently, I come and sit down at my desk, I start editing, and I blink, and it's like 6 p.m. and I'm like,
well,
what happened?
And if you don't have any view of the outside world like that, you really it fucks you up. Like you don't know. Like it's like being in a movie theater. You ever go into a movie theater during the day when it's still light out and you come out and it's dark and you're like, what the fuck happened? Is it a different month? Where am I at? What the hell happened? Did somebody roofie me? Why does my ass hurt? What's going on?
There was this one day I came in and it was a beautiful day outside. It was hot, but beautiful weather. And Alex texts me and she's like, are you coming home? It's like about to storm really bad. And I'm like, I figured it was, normal day. I didn't know it was storming. I left the office like 20 minutes later and it was like raining sideways, fucking thunder every 2 seconds, lightning everywhere, like flooding in the parking lot. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like it's like I enter a different dimension when I come in here sometimes. And I kind of hate that. I really want a place with windows and a place where I can see that the world is still happening outside. And I'm,
well, plus we've talked about it. Like, it's hard to beat natural light for certain shooting situations. Like I don't ever film long form stuff in natural light because then you deal with like, you get a cloud passes by and you're filming like talking head footage and your exposure's fucking jumping around. Then you go to make cuts and you've got this change in exposure and it's just a real pain in the ass. So I don't ever film long form stuff in natural light because it's just difficult to edit. But like B-roll and stuff, fuck man, natural light is,
when you have natural light and you don't have to set up lights and stuff just to take a quick photo.
Yeah, dude, natural
light's the best. Like I was talking to Peter a while back, actually right when I moved in this place, I'd never had a setup where I could just flip a light on and take a photo. And I thought that was the best thing ever. But now like I miss using the sun. If I want to take a photo with natural light, I have to walk like 200 yards.
Dude, natural light is beautiful, man. 90% of my B-roll, 95% of my B-roll is shot with natural light. I love using natural light. I have a huge window in this room that I keep closed the majority of the time, but obviously when I shoot, I open the blinds and natural light's gorgeous.
Yeah, well, hopefully come January, I will have a big garage door and a big window.
Ooh.
You guys, I haven't told you a whole lot about it, but I'm getting a shop. Like I'll have a studio that's a little bit bigger than this one and a shop with 14-foot ceilings. I'm going to have a hell of a time soundproofing that place or sound treating it.
I have a hard time with that in here. Like I've got to do something in here. I actually bought some rock wool and I'm going to make some panels to put on the ceiling, to hang on the ceiling or put up against the ceiling. Cause there's a lot of hard surfaces in this room. Cause it's a cigar room, it being a shooting room is a secondary thing. So I didn't put a lot of soft surfaces here on purpose because it gathers smoke and it stinks or whatever. But it does make recording a bit of a pain. It's not so bad with these mics because they're proximity, they're dynamic mics, so they only pick up stuff really close. But when I'm filming a video and I have the mic out of the shot, I'm using like a normal what's the opposite of a dynamic mic?
I mean, there's a lot of different types of mics.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think like what are the shotgun mics? What the fuck are they called? Condensers.
Yeah.
Normal condenser mic, man, that shit picks up every fucking echo.
Dude, when I used to work from home and make videos, Alex could be across the house and I would have my mic turned way down so it would be just barely picking me up. And
you can hear a fucking mouse fart upstairs.
Yeah, dude, I hate condenser mics, but
you catch your wife. It's like, you're like, I heard that.
Yeah, for real.
She's like, what? You didn't hear nothing. You're all the way downstairs. You're like, this mic is really sensitive, bitch. I heard that.
That's no joke. But yeah, no, I think that paired with like this dungeon space paired with how this year's gone has just put me in a weird, like foggy state where I don't really know, what I'm doing a lot of the time. I feel kind of lost.
We were just in just a rut as far as like clusterfuck because there were so many people in our house for so many months with no break. Normally the kids are at school and you have, like I was saying, you have the day to kind of get your house in order, clean everything when there's not munchkins running around destroying everything. So you have a good 6 hours to reset so you can start back at a level, right? Well, when nobody leaves the fucking house for 8 months, it's a disaster and you're just cleaning behind people that are messing as they move. My kids remind me of Linus from fucking, what the fucking kid? Charlie Brown. Remember Linus from Charlie Brown, the kid with the
blanket
that always followed everywhere? Or no, that was Pigpen. I'm sorry. Linus was the blanket. Pigpen is who I'm thinking of.
I barely ever watched Peanuts, so.
Well, I mean,
Charlie Brown.
It's probably
sort of before my time a little bit.
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't want to give you any more fucking ammo with calling me old. Somebody said in one of my videos the other day, they're like, I noticed some more, we'll call them platinum streaks in your beard lately. I'm like, those are wisdom streaks, son. Those are wisdom streaks.
I've been contemplating shaving. That's another side effect.
One of the things I had sent, we got to touch on this. One of the things I had sent you, we were talking about ideas of what to talk about tonight. I said like beard grooming. My wife got this fucking thing. I don't know how many like products I found because my wife got them and they're like, and then I end up trying them. I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. I don't care if it's for chicks or not, like whatever. She got this fucking brush. Okay. I tried the hot brushes they sell for beards, right? It's like a brush that has I think it's got like ceramic blades or something in it. Anyway, it gets hot and you see these guys use it and they comb their beard with it and it just makes their beard nice and smooth and lays down. That shit didn't work for my beard. A couple companies sent me one. It was like trying to comb pubes, dude. It just doesn't work. It just gets stuck in there. It didn't straighten shit. It was horrible. But my wife got this thing that's like it's a brush, but it's got a blow dryer in the brush.
Yeah.
It's like big and there's
I'm listening to you, but I am reading the chat because I was curious. I saw someone mention how we're completely not on topic and I'm just like along for the ride on this one. Jeremy and I haven't talked and he's like I don't think Jeremy has talked to anybody in weeks. I think
I talked today. I was talking to my wife. We went to Costco today. We went out.
I don't think your wife counts, Jeremy.
This fucking blow dryer brush is the best thing in the editor for long beards or even beards your length. You fucking just couple strokes down the beard and that bitch is just nice and it lays down, gets all the fucking fluff out of it. It's a beautiful thing.
I don't know. This thing it's kind of driving me crazy. I think it might be time to go.
It's because you don't fix it.
I try.
You don't do shit. You put some fucking beard oil in it and you're like, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you got to get out of blow dryer, man. I tell everybody. Everybody's like, oh, whatever. And guys can go fuck themselves. Guys, I get comments like that on my videos sometimes if I do like beard maintenance or something. They'll be like, I'm a real man. I don't wash my beard. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to be a stinky bitch and you want to call that what being a man is, being a stinky motherfucker that no women want to get within 50 feet of, then okay, whatever. But in my opinion, being well groomed is not unmanly, right? Matter of fact, I would argue the opposite. It is manly to be well groomed. Anyway, you got to hit that motherfucker with a blow dryer, dude.
I don't know. We'll see. It bothers me that I don't have a lot of thickness up on the face. It's mostly a neck beard, and I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, I had somebody comment mine was a neck beard, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have hair up to my eyeballs. I shave here to keep it from looking like a werewolf.
Yeah, mine doesn't grow much above this. So
no,
it doesn't.
Where does yours grow in?
I mean, I shave off like a few stragglers up in here, and that's about it.
Huh? Mine literally grows up to here. I shave this much off so that I don't look like one of those freak fucking werewolf sideshow people.
Jesus. Well, anyway, going back to what we were talking about with this.
Oh, did I tell you about? I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Man. I'll shut up. I'm going to give this. The next 5 minutes. I'm not saying anything.
I highly doubt that. You're like Trump during the debate. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself.
All I have to do is you will start a fucking feud in the damn comments. Do not mention anything with politics.
Well, anyway, I mean, just all of that shit aside, I was looking so forward to this year, like fall festivals, hay rides, and all that shit with Eleanor. That's really like the biggest thing I was looking forward to. And I guess we still have plenty of years, but man, this year, I don't know, it just feels like a big flop for everything on almost all fronts. And I don't know, but I don't know where I'm going with that. We were planning on taking her trick or treating. I'm a little bummed about it. We may still take her out in her costume and walk around a little bit, but I don't know. Just feels like she's missing out on key parts of her childhood, and it pisses me off a little bit. But I don't know. Oh, you're not talking? You're so full of shit. 5 minutes? You can't handle 5 minutes. All right. Well, anyway, what you guys didn't know before we started this podcast is Jeremy told me when he's not on air and not anybody around, he actually smokes those Texas Lanceros religiously because he likes the way they feel in his mouth. This is a visual podcast, so if you're only listening, Jeremy was motioning with his favorite motion of smoking a Texas Lancero. You can't help it. Come on.
I can't help it. I can't help it. Dude, that Texas Lancero, though, that's our boy AB, who I think is in the chat. It's down here. Hold on.
We still have to get 740 more viewers to do this live.
I mean, dude, it's
not that bad, Jeremy. It's not.
Are you fucking kidding me? You have to dislocate your jaw like an anaconda to smoke this thing. Like, I mean, that's got to be an inch around. Like, I don't know what gauge that is. I bet you Alec can he probably knows what gauge it is. He can comment if he does. I mean, it's a perfect name though, right? Texas Lancero, because like everything's big in Texas. But it's fucking huge, man.
He told me not to talk shit about brands when they're in the chat.
I for sure seen bigger. That could fucking start a whole thing. 70 ring gauge. 60s are big. I usually stay away from 60s because I mean, a lot of guys like smoking 60 ring gauge cigars. I don't. I usually stay Robusto or smaller, like 54 ring gauge down. Wow, dude. Wow, dude. Oh, dude, by the way, I watched, did you watch Joe Rogan's podcast with Matthew McConaughey? No. I thought that was really good, dude. I like Matthew McConaughey, dude. He's a pretty smart cat, man. He's a well-spoken dude. And I think he's a very kind of like even keeled guy. Like, I don't feel like he plays one side or the other too much. I think he kind of logically weighs both sides. I
go through phases where I watch a ton of YouTube and then I don't watch any. I listen to a ton of podcasts and then I don't listen to any. Right now, what happens, the reason I try not to watch TV is because I start a show and then I can't do anything but binge that show. So currently that's Longmire. I
Oh,
got
dude, my
onto
dad
that.
loved that show, bro. Longmire. And it went over to Netflix like the last season because it dropped off of what was a network that used to carry Longmire?
I don't know.
AMC?
It seems like an AMC show, but I don't know. But it's like a never-ending Clint Eastwood thing,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're watching
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Clint Eastwood movie, but it's a show, and it just keeps going. And
And it's got
it's
Lou
good.
Diamond Phillips in it, doesn't it?
I don't know who that is.
What?
Who?
Isn't his name Lou Diamond Phillips?
Lou what? Phillips?
Yeah, dude. Young Guns, La Bamba, fucking Lou Diamond Phillips.
I don't know who that is. Oh yeah. That guy's great. I didn't
Yeah,
know his name.
he's in there, right? And if I'm remembering, it's been a while since I've watched Longmire, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in it. He was he owned a bar on an Indian reservation or something
Yeah, the Red Pony.
Yeah. Lou Diamond Phillips, man. Fucking legend. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I just didn't know his name. He's actually a phenomenal actor. He's great. I love him.
Young Guns.
Yeah, he's good.
Those are great movies, by the way, dude. Young Guns.
But
Fantastic.
I go through these phases where I can't do anything but like if I start a show, I watch it every single night until it's done and I binge it. And if there's a cliffhanger, I stay up late and watch an extra episode. And it's just I get into these weird ruts. It's awful.
I like binging shows, man. I enjoy a good binge show.
Yeah, I get to the point where it's almost obsessive though.
Like yeah, I mean, I do that.
Affects my other shit.
Oh, it does me too. I mean, I'll fucking put in like my wife makes fun of me. I watched what did I rewatch recently? And it was an old show that has been on. Oh, Supernatural. You don't like Supernatural. You said it's the cringiest show ever.
It's so fucking cringy.
I liked it, but I rewatched from. By the way, they are in season 15. Okay, so not a short run of a show or 16. Somebody's saying 16. I don't know if they're talking about that or. But anyway, I started from the beginning of season 1 because I kind of stopped watching it for a long time. And I watched all the way up to the last episode they just aired that before the Rona thing and things split off. I think it took me like a week to watch like fucking 16 episodes. It might have been longer than a week. I might be exaggerating, but it was quick. I mean, I fucking powered through that shit.
I can't binge shows like I used to now because I have an 18-month-old and it just doesn't work like it used to. I used to like finish work and just binge a show with Alex and we barely ever watch anything together. Like I come home from work.
Allison are the same way. There's not a lot of stuff we like that we both like.
No, Alex watches mommy vloggers and
yeah. Well, Allison doesn't watch mommy vloggers, but she watches dumb shit that's like mind-numbingly painful to watch.
Alex watches. I mean, we watch some of the things like we like some of the same things, but she ends up watching them while I'm working, and I'm just like, well, shit. Why didn't you watch the stuff I don't like while I was working, and then we can watch something together?
We just watched a Haunting of
Bly Manor.
Bly Manor. Yeah.
See, we watched that together. And this is a great segue into what I kind of wanted to talk about.
Oh, I've actually helped?
Yeah, finally.
Put something on topic? Holy
took 7 episodes and 50 minutes into one for you to get on topic. But no, like she loves ghost stories and ghost movies and all of that.
Yeah.
I can't really get into it. Like the haunting of Bly Manor wasn't bad.
Did you watch The Haunting of Hill House, the first season?
Yes.
It was great. Fucking great.
As far as the story goes, it was okay.
That was great, dude.
The cinematography in that show was amazing.
You did not see that coming. I'm not going to say in case anybody hasn't watched it. I don't want to give it away. Spoiler alert. But no, you did not see that coming. Don't tell me you did.
I think the writing was great, but for me, it didn't hit because the haunting, like the haunted stuff doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. I get it. I thought it was just a good story though. And it kind of jumped back and forth in the timelines I thought it created a good mystery behind what was going on above and beyond the fact that there was just the ghost shit, right? Like,
yeah,
you were trying to like figure out like what the hell is happening here. And I think they did a really good job with it in the Bly Manor one too, even more so in the Bly Manor one. Cause you were like, what in the hell is going on?
It was really tough to follow at points, not in a bad way, but like there was no way anybody was really going to predict what was going on. It was not predictable. And I do appreciate that in a show or a movie, but I don't know. It just loses me when there's ghost shit. Like Alex hates like slasher movies and Grindhouse and all of that sort of stuff, like Jason and
Yeah, I mean, I
Freddy
like that stuff when I
Krueger's.
was younger, but if I'm being honest, that stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, for nostalgia's sake, I still like watching a good old slasher flick every now and then, a good Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. And when I was a younger lad, man, that shit's good. I really enjoyed them, but I'm not much into the slashers these days.
I watched one this past weekend, and I didn't watch it with any high expectations. And I wouldn't say it was like an amazing movie or anything, but shit, if they didn't get really clever and almost scary clever with how they did things in the movie, it was I Spit on Your Grave. Not really a great movie,
Thought you were
but
going somewhere else with that.
but they get really
I spit on your starfish.
yes. The people who write these things, like, they have to be kind of demented. Like, if you've not seen it, it's pretty. I mean, it's very much a grindhouse movie. The girl gets raped and sexually abused by a group of men.
One. Is that the one where she like fish hooked that fucking dude's face and like stuck a shotgun in the dude's ass and all kinds of weird stuff?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, dude, extremely violent movie. Like,
yeah, and I can appreciate like one or two of those a season. You know, I only really watch those around Halloween, and I can appreciate one or two of them. But
yeah, I mean, I don't remember why I got on watching that one. I think somebody recommended it or it popped up or I saw something and I watched it. And I was just like, a lot of times movies like that, I feel worse after I watched them because it's just like, it's like mental imagery that there's enough fucked up stuff that happens that like, I don't need that in my brain of some guy with a shotgun in his ass. Like, I don't need that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm just
somebody sat around a table with some other guys and brainstormed that shit.
Yeah, they're like, hey, I got an idea. Let's rape a girl and stick a shotgun in a dude's ass. And they're like, that sounds like a good idea. Let's put that in a movie.
And fish hook a dude's eyelids open and have some crows peck his eyeballs out.
Yeah, dude. Like, what the actual fuck is going on there?
And have a guy drown himself in a lye bath. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty gory stuff. But
yeah,
what do you typically watch when it comes to like horror stuff? Because I think most horror movies really fall flat for me. Like,
yeah, dude.
Hardcore.
Horror. Here's the deal. Horror. It kind of like what I was saying before is like there's enough bad shit in real life, like real shit going on, that the horror stuff, like sometimes it just seems a bit excessive to me. And there's no reason for it. Like I've seen real shit. I've seen people really die in person and bad shit happen. Like, so then when you watch a movie, it just all seems kind of grandiose and bullshit to a certain degree. Right. Like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just not big into, I don't get scared by horror movies rarely anymore. And like the whole point of a horror movie is to get that like adrenaline and get the scared. And like 90% of them are not scary at all. They're just gory for the sake of being gory. So it's like, Alex, it's kind of like the Black Rifle Coffee guys joke around. It's so ridiculous. Like all the Jason and stuff movies, the guy coming after the axe. I'm like, okay, bitch, come on after me with an axe. I've got an AR-15 over here. So good luck getting me with a fucking axe. Good luck. It's just so unrealistic. It's like, I'm not going to be afraid of some fucking dude with an axe. I've got a goddamn room full of guns. I would shoot his goddamn legs off. And then they're like, oh, but you shoot him and he keeps coming. Well, if you shotgun his goddamn knees to where he has no legs below the knee, he's not going to come at you anymore.
He's going to Walking Dead crawl to you.
Yeah, right. And then
I think when it comes to that style of movie, not that style, not like slasher, but like horror genre, I don't know. I feel like most of it's played out. I feel like a curmudgeon in so many ways because like I don't do superhero movies anymore. Just don't really care about them. I don't really like horror movies. Rom-coms are out.
Those are out. Those are hard out.
It's just like I don't enjoy so much stuff now. Like it's just I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's just like, is it fatigue because there's too much availability? There's no like.
I think there is a little bit of like instant gratification fatigue these days, right? Because you know, when I was a kid, I'd tell my kids this all the time. We joke around about how kids don't have patience these days because they don't have to wait for anything, right? Like when I was a kid, and again, I'm probably aging myself, so I'm just waiting for the old man comments to come. But when I was a kid, you had cartoons Saturday morning. That was it. Saturday morning cartoons. They came on for a few hours in the morning, and that was the only time that shit happened. And the rest of the week, it was fucking 60 minutes and shit you didn't want to watch that your parents watched. You know what I mean? Like, so you really appreciated when that stuff happened. So, and when movies came out, like, you know, my uncle's in chat. I remember when I was a kid sitting and watching like Night of the Living Dead with him. And like when I was a kid, that was like the coolest fucking thing ever because we weren't inundated with so much of it that it was really, really good. But I do think there's a certain amount of just like overload we get these days with, you know, we get so much of it and it's all there instantly at your fingertips that I do think there's a certain amount of fatigue involved.
Yeah. Like I sit down, Alex goes to bed, Eleanor's asleep, and I sit down. I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch a movie. And I know like in my head what I kind of want to watch and I know how I want to feel. Like I know what I want to experience and I'll sit there and browse for so long and I'll finally just land on something and it starts and I'm just like, more of this shit. Like I don't know. I'm so tired of all the modern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll go back and watch shit from 20 years ago and enjoy it. And that's not like a back in my day sort of thing. It's just more of like, I don't know. I feel like shit back then had more. I don't know. I think the easier way to go about this is to say most of shit now is just so overdone, overprocessed, reused and recycled. Like there's so little original shit anymore.
You know, it's funny. Me and my wife were talking about that with music the other day. We were like, man, I think good music stopped in the 90s. Like there was so much good music back then.
Good popular music died back then.
Yeah,
everything good now. You have to dig for it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I listen to some Post Malone. I enjoy listening to, but he's like one of my favorite new kind of poppy rap kind of guys. It's just like nod your head, feel good music, right? Like it just got a good beat and whatever. But like I don't know, man. Back in the 90s, there was like good music. In the 80s, there was even good music, right? In the 70s, there was 60s and 70s, there was fucking fantastic music. I just don't see a lot of that shit these days. You know, I mean,
you have to dig for it. If you really want some, well, you don't like the same kind of music I like. So my recommendations are going to fall on deaf ears with you.
Dude, even country music was way better back in the day.
Well,
country music today is like country pop. Like so much of it is such bullshit these days.
If you want good country music from today, just listen to Coulter Wall. It's good shit. I think I showed you Coulter Wall on one of the
I do like
live
some Chris Stapleton now. I don't know if I think he's country, right?
He's country. I don't really care for Stapleton. He's got a good voice, but the music I don't like.
God damn, dude, his voice, dude.
Coulter Wall, Billy Strings, Marcus King, Shaky Graves, they're all out there. You just have to really dig deep. I saw somebody mention the Dead South. Fantastic. None of it's popular. All the popular shit is the low-hanging fruit, like effortless bullshit that's made in a studio. Like
stuff that fucking sucks, man. It's like
formulaic bullshit.
Half the country songs these days, and I'm not a huge country listener, by the way. I mean, I used to listen to quite a bit of country music. I don't listen to much of it anymore because it's all that fucking Florida Georgia line. Fucking what are the guys with the makeup with the bleach tips and shit that call themselves country? What the hell is it? Rascal Flats. Get the fuck out of here with that. Like that's not country. Come on.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I mean, dude.
Oh, man.
Spray tans and bleached hair. That's not country. Get the fuck out of here with that. I don't think any of those guys even have a cowboy hat.
I saw somebody mention that everything is just so soulless. And I feel like that, like content is just so, I call it content, but just art in general, content, art, whatever you want to call it, music, movies, all of that is just so produced and mass produced that it just doesn't land the same for me. I'm just so bored with everything.
Well, dude, I remember
this also could be like COVID fatigue. I don't know.
It could be, dude. Everybody's getting emotional and shit.
I've been sitting around watching too much shit that
we're all on our periods, just having fucking emotion. I need some chocolate and fucking a boo boo. I need a cozy blanket and some chocolate. But no, well, you know, I remember the first time I ever heard Metallica. I think it was And Justice for All. I think the first time I heard that song, I was like, like you don't get like I can remember hearing some songs when I was younger, like, and any of that album actually, Metallica album. Like, it gave you an emotion when you heard it. You were like, oh, God damn. That music doesn't have that these days. Some of it'll make you nod your head and it's good, but it doesn't like give you goosebumps and fucking like make you feel something the way music used to.
Well, I never got that effect from Metallica. But
oh, dude, the first time I heard some of that album, dude, I thought was the best shit I'd ever heard in my life. Some of the like old Metallica, or get the fuck out of here, dude. The first time I heard Stairway to Heaven, come on. Get the
well, I mean, I used
here.
to listen to Metallica, but I went through my angsty teen days after they were past their prime, you know.
Yeah, Metallica got a little Metallica.
I'm too young to have really hit the Metallica prime, you know.
Back in the day, Master of Puppets and Justice for all that shit. Like, oh God, those were some good albums, dude.
I was in that like from first to last, my teen angst sort of shit. That was after your time. You were already like an old man by then.
Yeah, I was like had 4 kids.
I will say
collecting Social Security.
I will say one of my most embarrassing teen moments was done while listening to Metallica. I was playing air guitar so vigorously to a Metallica song
that you came in your pants.
Yes. No. I swung my hand so hard that I hit the light fixture and broke the globe, and everything is shattered all over the living room. And my mom was like, "What was that?" And I'm just like,
"Nothing.
I have no idea what happened."
It wasn't anything. You didn't hear anything. Carry on.
I was walking by and it just exploded. I didn't do anything.
It just fucking boom.
It wasn't me.
We went off on a bit of a music tangent, but you asked me what, like, I watched the house, the Haunting of Bly Manor. I can't, and I know this is going to like derail you a little bit, but again, this brings me back. Nice. This brings me back to my childhood in Star Wars and how much that series meant to me as a young kid and how much I was into that shit as a kid when that first came out back in like the 70s and 80s. But I do The Mandalorian. I cannot wait for the season 2 to come out. I know you joked around when I said we talk about tonight. You were like, fuck you. We're not talking about The Mandalorian because you hate Star Wars.
I said we aren't talking about any of that Pokemon shit on the podcast.
Oh yeah. You called Star Wars Pokemon shit, which is, I let that insult fly. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna give him a pass on that one.
No, the reason I said that, I got to show you. Keep going. I'll show you.
But yeah, I'm really excited about that. And you know what is, I kind of hate it, but I kind of love it at the same time that Disney Plus is doing with the Mandalorian series. I don't know if they've done it with other series, but you can't binge it. They release it now you can after the whole series is out. It's on there and you can binge it, but they release one episode a week. So you can't like crush it. You know what I mean?
So they did the same thing with The Boys, which I said I don't watch superhero movies, but The Boys was really, really good. If you haven't watched The Boys on Amazon, it's a superhero show.
That is the greatest dark. That is the darkest, greatest superhero show. Like the most fucked up shit is going on in that show. Oh God. I think the first.
Have you watched all of it?
Yeah, I watched both seasons. Dude, the dude with the huge pecker that his superpower was like an enormous it wrapped around the dude's neck, and then it was like this. It was like on his face. And I was like, oh God. And then when they figured out what it was, they were like, the other guy just kind of looked at him like
I thought of you when I saw that part. The first thing I thought of was Jeremy Cyrus, because you would have offed yourself. You would have just been like, I'm done with this world. If you had a giant dong wrapped around your neck and tickling your face, you'd be out. You'd be out.
What superhero franchise do you know of? That has a superhero, his superpower is a ginormous articulating dong. And secondly, would make him choke somebody and rub the head of it on his cheek while, I mean, come on, dude. Greatest thing ever.
It is a really good show. And that's really what I mean. Like, I think that's what it boils down to when we're talking about like this fatigue and everything, is like all of that Marvel stuff is low hanging fruit.
Some of that shit's really good though, man. Like I got to defend some of the Marvel stuff, like Infinity Wars. Like that's a fucking.
I haven't seen that one.
Undertaking, bro.
I didn't see any after.
All of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are pretty fantastic.
Guardians of the Galaxy is fun, but it's. I don't know. I feel like so much of it is formulaic, just like a country music song, that I don't know. It just lost a lot of its luster for me. But The Boys was original, and I think that's what is lacking. A lot of stuff is originality and originality in the writing, And I don't know. I also really
somebody
enjoy
mentioned
like
Deadpool, dude. Deadpools are fantastic. Those are great fucking movies.
anything Ryan Reynolds does is
Yeah,
amazing.
He's so funny, dude.
If you have not seen Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, is it Hugh Jackman?
Dude, did you see the Hugh Jackman commercial?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Where they were cross promoting each other's stuff. And
dude, when he was naked with those shoes and had his feet like this.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about.
Dude, have you seen that? The shoe commercial Hugh Jackman did where he's buck naked and you can't see it, but they like strategically put stuff like a dude he's talking to a guy, so his head is like strategically in the way of his crotch, but he's like buck naked and they're talking to him and they're like, yeah, when we said you could only wear our shoes because of the deal we signed, we didn't literally mean like only we meant like that's the only shoe brand. Like you can wear other clothes. And he's like, no, it's super cool. He's like spread eagle. Oh, it's great. It's a funny ass commercial.
No, what I was talking about was, they're like really good friends, but they've got this fake online beef. And Ryan Reynolds, I think, has a coffee company, and I think that's what it is. And Hugh Jackman has the liquor
He's
company.
Got a gin. Ryan Reynolds has a gin company.
Okay, so it's the other way around.
Aviation, something like that.
It's the other way around. Hugh Jackman has the coffee company.
Right.
And Ryan
like
Reynolds
Friendly
has,
Guy or Happy Guy or something coffee. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I don't remember. But they were making commercials for each other. And it plays Ryan Reynolds first, and he's talking shit about him. And he's like, I don't know what this is going to taste like. Probably like ass, and just like kicks it over. And then Hugh Jackman's commercials like talking up Ryan Reynolds the whole time, just being super nice and friendly. And I don't know, you have to watch it.
Dude, they're funny. Those two guys are funny. Ryan Reynolds is a funny guy in general, but those two guys together are really funny. So, it's funny. We were just talking about how all stuff sucks. And then we're talking about some of the stuff we really love. There are definitely gems out there. Right. But you're right. There is so much shit out there that you do have to sift through all the garbage to find the gems, but there's definitely some good stuff out there still.
Dude, do you know how long it took me to pick Longmire? Because I just assumed it would be some more just pumped out bullshit. It took me like 4 years to actually just muster up the courage to watch one episode.
Yeah, dude, it's an old show. I mean, I think the first season of that was,
I think it finished in like 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not anything new.
But it's turned out to be pretty good show. And you said you like Hannibal, but I got 3 or 4 episodes in and I kept falling asleep.
I liked Hannibal. If you've never seen Parks and Rec, you really have to go back and watch that. Like that's an older show, but if you've never watched that, you absolutely have to go back.
Parks and Rec is one of the only things I've ever watched twice.
Yeah, dude, it's great. Like
it's why I picked up Scotch.
Speaking of gin, that's one of the funniest things ever. In that I put it in my last video. When the guy's like gin and tonic, he's like, belay that order, Lagavulin neat. Clear alcohol is for rich women on diets. It's fucking great, dude. So great. But yeah, Parks and Rec is a really, I'm trying to think of others because I rewatched Parks and Rec not too long ago, which is why that came up. I'm trying to think of other shows that I've watched lately. I rewatched Mandalorian season 1, prepping for season 2 coming out.
Dexter is something I've watched twice actually.
Dexter was really good. It's been years since I watched that. Are they?
They are bringing Dexter back. Yes.
I'm trying to think of what else I watched.
Yeah, that was announced like 2 weeks ago, I think, or last week or something. But yeah, it's coming back.
What have I watched lately? The Boys. We talked about The Boys. That was great.
I mentioned this in a previous episode, but you genuinely need to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Get the fuck out of here. Somebody just mentioned one of my all-time favorites, Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy is really good.
That's a really good one. I've watched that.
I'm telling you, watch
The
Marvelous.
I'll give an episode. My wife watched Nurse Ratched. It looked pretty good actually. It looked kind of crazy. It's Netflix. I think it was Netflix, or it might have been Hulu. But it actually looked pretty good. But she watched it. She liked it. So Peaky Blinders, somebody just said Peaky Blinders was really good.
Very good.
So there's some good stuff out there, but I completely agree with you. Circling back, it definitely could be a little bit of Corona fatigue because I think we've all probably watched a little more TV than we normally do, just because you're stuck at home like all the time. And there's been no new movies really coming out because a lot of shit's been put on hold because of Corona. They're not filming new stuff. So like,
well, they are now, but there's was like what a 6 month gap that pushed everything back. Somebody mentioned Justified.
Oh,
that's a good one. Timothy Oliphant is just so good at every role.
Speaking of that, dude, that was actually a really fun show that me and my wife watched together. Santa Clarita Diet.
I think the first 2 seasons were good, and then after that, it really fell off fast.
Timothy Oliphant cracked me up. It was his.
He's great.
It's him that made that show worth it to me because I laughed at him constantly because he was such a fucking chuckle nuts. I loved it. He was great in Justified. He is actually going to be in Mandalorian season 2, from what I understand.
Again, I don't care about that Pokemon shit.
I'm telling you, you should watch it. You would like it.
Would I get,
dude, it's kind of, they modeled it after like old spaghetti Westerns, right? So like it has a very like Western feel, but I mean, I know it's Star Wars, so it's space, but like I'm telling you,
if you give,
I will give the Marvelous Miss Fucknuts a try.
I'm serious. You'll probably like it. Like people have mentioned Letterkenny a bunch in the chat. Have you ever watched Letterkenny?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's kind of fast paced like that. The same writers for the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel were the ones that wrote what's that show? I can't remember
right now, Taylor. Marvelous. I'm gonna watch an episode or 2 of it. Was it on Netflix?
No, that one's on Amazon Prime too. But the people who wrote Marvelous Mrs. Maisel were the ones that made I can't remember. It's a really fast paced like teen drama show that Alex and all her sisters loved. I couldn't never get into it. I couldn't follow it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very fast paced. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss a lot of jokes and a lot of the funny.
It's like it's a comedy.
Yeah. And that's how Letterkenny is too. Just if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss 90% of the jokes and you're not going to find it entertaining. And that's how I felt about Letterkenny. Like between the fast pace and the Gilmore Girls. Alex said it. Gilmore Girls. I obviously never watched that. It's just like when my sister would watch it, I couldn't keep up. I'm just like, this is moving too fast. But they did a really good job with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's just, it's constantly, it's going to keep you on your toes, but it's funny as shit. And it's just a really good show.
I'll watch it.
So you try that. I'll try Mandalorian. I'll give some Star Wars stuff a chance. I have never personally liked Star Wars anything a ton.
Well, here's the thing. I don't feel, and I told my wife this because I was trying to get my wife to watch The Mandalorian. I don't feel like you need to even really know Star Wars to enjoy The Mandalorian. I think it kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, knowing Star Wars and knowing the backstory and all this stuff will definitely enrich your experience for sure. But like, I feel like it's a pretty standalone story on its own that you can appreciate, even if you had never watched any of the other stuff.
I've watched most of the Star Wars movies, nothing after like Han Solo. I didn't watch Han Solo. So anything that came out after like the first 6 movies.
Yeah, well, then there was all the animated series and stuff that like filled in a lot of cracks between some of the movies and stuff. So, I mean, you probably, like I said, knowing all that will definitely enrich your experience. But I think if you had never seen Star Wars at all, I think The Mandalorian could stand on its own. It's good.
So is it more like bounty hunter based stuff? Like I've seen the picture. I've not really read into it. I just know that he's got kind of like a Boba Fett helmet. That's all I really know.
Yeah, no, well, he is a Mandalorian. That's their deal. They're not allowed to take that off. But
I don't know anything about it, so I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to give anything. I don't want to like fuck it up. But yeah, it goes in a direction you would not expect. I'll just say that. Like when I heard The Mandalorian, they were coming out with a show that I thought it was going to be something very different than when I watched it, what it ended up being about. But it's good, man.
Okay.
It's got great reviews. Everybody loved it. I mean,
I will watch it, but not until after I finish Longmire. I just have to.
Yeah, no, I can respect that. I can respect that. Somebody else mentioned Vikings. That was really good up to a point. Once they killed off what's his shit, I couldn't watch it anymore.
I haven't watched. I think I watched like half the first season. I don't know. I just fall off stuff. That's another thing. Like, Alex is super into podcasts right now. She's just on a huge kick with podcasts, and she wants me to listen to all these that she finds. And I'm sure they're great, but man, I've found that I am so fucking picky with podcasts. Like, I don't know if it's because I edit so much audio and I've done podcasts for so long myself or what it is, but like I don't know when it comes to audio, like even when you're watching a video with bad audio, I can't watch the video. So when there is no visual aspect, I scrutinize the audio 10 times more.
If I'm not mistaken, they actually did a test where they showed people some videos that had poor video quality but good audio, and they showed people stuff that had good video quality but poor audio, and more people were irritated and turned off or stopped the stuff with the bad audio over the bad video, because bad audio does great on people. I think they actually did a study that proved that bad audio actually pisses people off worse than bad video.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that a lot of the podcasts she listens to have bad audio, but it's just bad or cringy narration, or there's just so much to it that can go wrong with a podcast. And I realize that I'm not perfect here either. I'm not the best at editing audio or recording audio. And
so much stuff can go wrong with a podcast, like fucking internet issues that plague the.
but it makes Alex so mad that I just won't give so many of them a try. Like I will heed her advice. I will try a podcast, and I can tell within about 30 seconds whether I'm going to love or hate that podcast. Not love it, but whether I'm going to hate that podcast.
Completely agree, but I just forgot. You've got to watch this. Maybe tonight when you get home. Fuck, what's it called?
Oh, good transition there, Jeremy.
It's
Great.
Bert Kreischer's show on Netflix. It just came out. It's called like Bert Kreischer Cabin. Fuck, somebody will maybe pull it up in the chat.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't know who Bert Kreischer is? Oh, no. Dude, he's like he's funny as shit. He does The Cabin, I think is what somebody just said. The funniest shit I've seen in a minute, dude. I was like pissing myself at a couple points in those first couple, and they're like 20-minute long episodes. There's like 6 of them or something. It doesn't take any time to blow through, but oh my God, laughing.
I've seen his face like once,
dude. Like his friends come up to this cabin and they come up. He's got like a fucking, this girl, and he's got a wax strip on his asshole, and he's
why is every picture of him? I just Googled him, and
he's got a shirt off in every picture. He never wears a shirt. That's his thing. It's kind of his shtick, right?
Why does he have my body type?
Because he's the machine, bro. He's a partier, man. He doesn't.
Actually, he's got a bigger gut than I got. I got a gut, but he's got a bigger gut.
But
I feel a little better.
One of the funniest podcasts out right now is Two Bears, One Cave. It is Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, who is a comedian.
I know who Tom Segura is.
Those two sumbitches, their podcast is fucking hilarious.
I'll give it a try. I've been looking really hard for new podcasts lately. I've been trying to do.
If you want a good comedy podcast that's funny, I mean, it's not going to enrich your life in any meaningful way as far as like good information or anything like that. It's just two comedians just talking shit and being funny, but it is fucking hilarious.
Well,
hilarious.
I've been on the prowl for new podcasts because I've listened to everything, and most of the podcasts I listen to are like bi-weekly, once a month. And
you listen to Joe, right?
I listen to like one Joe Rogan podcast every month or two.
I listen to Joe. I listen to Joe pretty religiously.
I couldn't tell. You talk about him like
Dr. Drew's podcast is pretty good sometimes. I enjoy that. That's on Tom Segura, and his wife's podcast is really good.
By far my favorite podcast is Reply All. I think they do a phenomenal job. It's just really well made. I love that podcast. But my favorite type of podcast, Reply All is like tech based, but they don't.
Okay,
They don't like cover the news or anything. They just find like interesting stories from the internet, and they'll tell you about these stories. They'll talk to the people that were related to them. But they have this thing called Super Tech Support, where say this one that I remember was somebody's Uber account got hacked, and nobody could figure out what happened. And they even talked to Uber, and they were like, yeah, nothing happened. But the person's like, no, it absolutely, I had a ride booked in Russia, and I'm in America. Like somebody clearly hacked my Uber account, and Uber's like, there's no record of that. But they found out that it was something about like Uber trying to cover up this massive hack that happened. And
oh, wow.
But they dive deep into this stuff. Like they go to the end of the earth to find the answers to some of these questions, and they do such a good job.
So do you like strictly entertainment podcasts, meaning like comedy or whatever that doesn't, or do you like podcasts that you can learn from, right? Like informational podcasts.
I listened to Stuff You Should Know for a long time, but man, those two guys, as good as they are at explaining things in ways that I can understand, which is saying something, dude, they put me to sleep so much. They're just too calm. They're like, yeah, that was really great. Like they're just so soft spoken. And
what
and
is
it
that
just,
one that I listened to for a while that was really good?
my
he does
favorite,
it does history. It's like, is it History on Fire?
I don't know. I
think it's called History on Fire, and it's like educational. It's like history stuff, but the way the guy explains it and the kind of his storytelling and stuff, I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the few like strictly like educational learning type podcasts that I really enjoyed, because I'd normally lean toward either Joe Rogan, which is like conversational but with cool guests and you do learn stuff, or I lean heavy into like funny shit, right? Like Your Mom's House, which is Tom Segura and his wife Christina P. It's their podcast, or Two Bears One Cave, because I want to laugh and like enjoy it, right? Like I don't necessarily always want to be learning something.
I like a big broad array of stuff. I don't know. I've gotten bored with a lot of the ones I used to listen to. One of my favorites from the past was You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. Hilarious. Some of the earlier episodes are really, really funny. Some of them fall a little flat, but that was one that I could always rely on. I listen to the Philip DeFranco show podcast now because I don't always have time to watch the video. So I listen to the news on the way home from that, which is a really great format, I think.
I always like Philly D, man. I mean, he's obviously been successful, so a lot of people like him, but
I met him a couple times, which is very awkward.
He's we were talking about guy, isn't he?
I don't know. He was sitting down when I met him, but it was very awkward.
Why?
You remember how we were talking about that the other day? How it's always awkward when somebody comes up, like no matter what. It's no offense to anybody. If you see me in person, please come up, say hello. I'm not mean or snobby or anything. Just come say hello. But it's just always kind of awkward because sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes I don't know what to say, and it just kind of it's just weird. It's just weird, but it's a good weird. Like I'd rather you say hello.
Oh, for sure. For sure. No, we were talking about the other day because a guy came up to me and I was at Home Depot and he's like, "Hey, are you Jeremy?" And it's super cool when that happens, right? Like you always love to see that there's fans out there, there's people that are watching your stuff and they're enjoying your content, and I love it. And same to reiterate what you said, absolutely. If you ever see me in public, come up and say, "Hey," like I love it, right? But it is kind of a weird position because generally they know you better than you know them, right? Because they've kind of know your personality. They've heard you tell stories or talk about things in your life. They might know your wife's name and your dog's name or whatever, and you don't know them at all. So it's kind of like a weird position that you're like, "Oh, hey man, like awesome." And I want it to be a good experience because I don't want to be like, "Yeah, I met that Jeremy guy, he's a real dick." But at the same time, it's kind of like it's a tap dance. You're like, "Oh, hey man, like thanks." I don't know. It is a little awkward sometimes. But
I mean, I had a guy years ago follow me to my car. So he came up and introduced himself to me at a restaurant. I was with my ex-girlfriend, and he introduced himself and then just kind of stood there. And I'm like, "All right, well, it's nice to meet you. We're going to, finish our lunch and I got to get back to work." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he walked away. And then we went to pay and they came up behind us. And then we paid and left and he followed me to my car. And I'm just like, okay, like it was cool that you said hello, but there is a line. You crossed the line, and now we're here. I'm going to get my car and leave. Please don't follow me. And I didn't go back to my office because I mean, my office was like a block away. I drove for like 15, 20 minutes and then came back to the office. But yeah. But with the Philly D thing, I was at CES years ago and I walked by and I saw him at a poker table and I was like, I just have to go introduce myself. And I turned around and went and said hey to him. And I'm like, I'm a YouTuber too. Like I was working for a big YouTube channel at the time. And I don't know, it was just awkward. I wasn't trying to be like, "Hey, notice me." I was just like, "Hey, it's cool to see another YouTuber out in public." I mean, I know we're at CES, but yeah, it was, he's been very open on his channel about being kind of awkward in person and not very, he has social anxieties.
And
I don't
I don't have social anxiety.
I'm like, "Hi, motherfucker, this is me,"
Right.
I lost it the first time I went to CES. I used to have social anxiety and be very timid and reserved and stuff. And my boss, like at the time, we flew to Las Vegas and he's like, "Don't worry." This was my first time ever flying across country by myself. And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll be there. We'll stay together the whole time. Don't worry, it's fine." I get off the plane. He's like, "All right, I got meetings. I'll see you later." And I'm just like, fuck. So I walk into this big hall and there's a big group of people that I knew from the internet, but I've never met in person. And I don't know if they know me, but I know all of them. They're in the middle of a conversation. I just like butt into that shit. And I'm like, this is my moment. I got to just say hello and get past this shit.
Get in there.
Boom. And that just kind of became my thing when I would go to trade shows and stuff. Dude, I just handed my card to everybody. Everybody.
And generally, after you break the ice, things kind of loosen up and you feel better about things, right? There's always like that anxiety leading up to a situation like that. And then once you get in there and you start mingling and stuff, you feel better, right?
Dude, after that one moment where those guys were like huddled and they all knew each other and stuff, and I just kind of butted in and just made myself part of that.
What's up, bitches?
Dude, after that, I didn't have any fear of anything anymore. It's just like, I've done this one time, I can do it again. But
well, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing I tell my son, who's now getting to the age where he's, dating women and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You're going to get rejected. It doesn't fucking matter. The worst thing they're going to say is get the fuck out of here. Or no, like that's the worst, but you might as well put yourself out there,
or you're going to clam up and just make a massive fool of yourself
but you know what? You'll get over it. And it'll be a funny ass story you'll tell when you're older.
The only time I ever did anything like that, it was a girl working at a Journeys at a mall near my house when I was in high school. And I bought a pair of shoes from her. I walked out, I turned around, I came back in and I was like, I'm going to ask this girl on a date. And I walk in, I was like, one more thing. And she was like, yes. And I'm just like, just fucking froze. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move my feet. I was like stuck. And it's just like total paralysis. I'm like, fuck. And just like left.
It happens to all of us, man. Anybody who says they've never froze up like that is full of shit. Everybody's had that moment where they got like locked up. They're like, but hey, man, dude, you get past it. And like you said, when you get older, you don't give a fuck and you have a story to tell.
It was a good 20 seconds that I just like had nothing. Brain shut down. I just had to reboot, man. Somebody had to shove me out of the store.
Sometimes you just have to fucking say fuck it and reboot. I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yep. So where were we at before?
We were talking about podcasts, and my favorite genre of podcasts by far is true crime.
See, I don't listen to any of that kind of stuff.
I love true crime. I love listening about learning about serial killers and crazy.
That's like my wife. I always joke with her about that. I'm like, it's a little scary how much she loves that shit. And I'm like, are you going to fucking kill me one day? Is that what's going to happen? Am I going to piss you off and say the wrong thing? Like this fucking chicken sucks. And then like, I'm going to not wake up the next day and there's going to be a fucking, you're trying to figure out it. Cause if anybody could kill somebody and get away with it, it's my wife. She has watched a ton of that shit. A ton of it.
Well, I love listening to those podcasts. Criminal used to be one of my favorites by far. It's produced here in North Carolina. And I really just kind of resonated really well with it. And then lately, like they've gotten away from these really interesting stories, which is how they started, about these crazy crimes that happened. And now it's more about like current events and stuff that happened 50 years ago that's relevant today. And I don't know, it became like a tinge too political for me. And I'm over it. But Swindled is a very good podcast that I listen to a lot now. But again, it's like every 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I need more. I've listened to everything. So that's what I've been on the prowl for, something like that. And there's one that just started up.
I'll ask my wife if she knows any, and I'll text them to you. Because she listens and watches all that shit.
Alex listens to so many true crime podcasts, and those are the ones that I just end up hating. Like there's one, I don't remember the name of it, but the host is from Australia, and his accent isn't what kills it for me. It's the accent paired with his audio quality, which is, I mean, I know he's got to have a lot of listeners. I think it's his full-time gig. And he sounds like he's sitting in the middle of a warehouse about 10 feet from the microphone.
Dude, can I say that?
And I'm just like,
accents though. I love accents.
Case file. And I think more recently his audio quality's improved, but it still sounds like weird and hollow. It's not reverb. It's just, I don't know what it is. I can't listen to it. And Crime Junkie, she just mentioned that one. I think that format is good. I love the way that I love the way that they could be making these shows. Like if they had one person telling the stories, it'd be good. But every like 10 minutes. There's one person, and it's scripted. They've scripted all this shit out. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this woman stops talking and another person chimes in. She's like, oh no, what happened next? And it's just like,
you're like, what the fuck is going on?
could you just not talk? This would be 800 times better if you just didn't have this fake interjection that doesn't make any sense. Like, instead of like coming up with an interesting segue to go from one topic to the next, they use that really stupid interjection for a very obvious softball lob question that pivots the conversation. That's what kills it for me. Even if they did that in like a good way, it'd be fine. But they're like, oh wow, how did that happen? And it's like,
dude, somebody just said, you guys realize you both have accents, right?
Well, yeah, I know I do.
I don't hear mine, right? Like,
nobody hears their own accent. Dude,
right.
When I moved to Charlotte, people were like, they would stop and look at me when they heard me talk. I've dropped most of my accent because I come from a farm town. If you heard my family talk, you would know. You would know.
Yeah. I don't hear mine. I know it's there, and it gets worse when I'm around certain people, like certain family members and stuff, because then it starts to come out a little more.
Mine gets worse with this stuff right here.
But I fucking love accents. British ones, especially Cockney, like the fucking just raw, like Cockney accent. Cockney. I love it, dude. They're
Irish.
great.
Irish is the best.
Irish is great. Scottish is great.
Yeah.
It's all great. I love them. I love listening to those people talk. I could hear, they could talk anything. They could say any fucking thing. And I don't know. I just like hearing them talk. It's great. I like the difference in dialect, right? I think it's really interesting that different areas of the world, I mean, this isn't some revelation, but I think it's interesting that like there's completely different dialect they use with the same language, right? Like there's a bunch of shit that British people say that fuck, they're words that we don't use at all. Like it's totally different shit.
Like a lorry.
Yeah, it's like the same language, but totally different shit. And I find that fascinating. I really think it's interesting. And I love the different, kind of vernacular or whatever you want to call it that different areas use. Somebody said I have a heavy accent. I guess I have it. Do I have a heavy? You think I have a heavy accent?
I wouldn't call it heavy, but you definitely have an accent. And I know I do, but mine is definitely less severe than it used to be. I mean, I had some serious twang, like Paula Deen twang before I moved to the city, I guess. I mean, I was a country boy. So I go home and they comment on how I don't have an accent now. So
see, that's what I'm saying. I know people in my family that have my mom has a much thicker accent than I do.
But see, I can't revert. I can't just like turn it back on. It slowly faded away. If you go back to my early videos on YouTube, you can hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like 2012.
I mean, I guess compared to somebody from like England, my accent's just off the chain because I have an American accent, which is very different and I'm from the Southern. So I'm. Dude,
have you ever heard of the Hoy-Toyers?
A what?
Hoy-Toyers of North Carolina. Let's see if I can find it. It's like this one island in North Carolina where they have a different accent from everybody else. The disappearing American dialect.
I can't believe you don't like a Cockney accent, dude. I love a Cockney accent.
No, it's annoying.
Like, oi! I fucking love it. It's the greatest thing ever.
How do I turn this? I got to do this. Just don't talk for just a second. If this will even load. Yeah. Okay. So you should be able to hear this.
I do. I have a lot of people that think I'm from Australia or Ireland. Yeah. You can look at these boats and see crabs. The first people came here to the mid 1600s with people. Many of the unique items, particularly the vocabulary items.
Where are you
from? You just take a little scud.
There we go. This is in North Carolina on I don't know what island it is, but it's like everybody on this island has this accent, and it's just this accent.
You take it a ride around the island. You just take a little scud.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's I can't remember what it's called.
I didn't know that was a thing.
The brogues, the Carolinian brogues.
So last night water, Friday night moonshine, no fish.
What? The fuck did he just say? No fish.
the brogue will disappear.
The brogue.
Last night, water, fart night, moonshine, no fish.
Okra
What the
cocaine.
hell did he just say? Seriously.
I have no idea, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, Jeremy's echoing because I was playing my audio back through. Sorry.
What was that?
The brogue
super,
accent.
super thick Cajun accents can be that way, where it's like almost hard to understand. It's like, what? I have to like listen real hard to get. I'm like, what?
So they call those people hoy-toiders because that's how they say high tide is hoy-toid.
Hoy-toid.
Yeah.
Hoy-toid. Hoy-toid.
Ocracoke brogue is the dialect.
I also like people like up in Minnesota. You know that accent? It's like where else do they have that same kind of accent? Like Wisconsin. Is it Minnesota and Wisconsin?
It's all Midwest. It's a Midwest accent.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the hardest one for me to like that I have to really pay attention is somebody with a real thick like Creole accent. I have to really pay attention. I'm like, what are they saying right now?
Yeah, I used to work with a guy who was from Haiti, and his accent was so thick. I could never tell what he was saying, and I felt so bad. I have this, and I've talked about this only really with Alex a little bit, but I have like an audio processing issue. I've always had it, but through speakers and with thick accents, I just cannot tell what people are saying. It sounds like noise. Like when I was in high school and they would tell the announcements through the loudspeaker, I could never tell what they were saying. And it wasn't like somebody slurring or mumbling or anything. Everybody else in the room could understand it. I couldn't. And I've just struggled with that for a long time. So when somebody has a really thick accent, I struggle a lot sometimes.
Dude, speaking of struggling, Corona, has anybody else found it's like hard to communicate with people when you're out and their fucking mouth is covered and then it's muffled a little bit, and like you don't realize how much you pick up. My dad jokes around because my dad's very hard of hearing, and he always jokes around because you can't really see my mouth move very much because so much facial hair. He said it's like talking to a fucking Muppet. But at least you can at least see some lip movement. When you got the masks and shit on, man, it's a little muffled from the mask, and then you can't see any. It's very difficult to like. I find myself asking. I'm like, what? Like today we were out. I must have asked different people like 5 times. Like, what'd you say? Can you repeat that? People probably think I'm hard of hearing.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot, but I have people asking me a lot because I tend to mumble. So mumbling with a mask is a bad combination.
It's rough, dude. It's rough.
Yeah.
You want to jump in some comments for a little bit?
Yeah, we can do that.
I know we've kind of been tiptoeing on it.
We're kind of out of practice a little bit. As you couldn't tell, we didn't even hit on our topic really, and that's all right. Whatever.
I mean,
we're here to have fun. I don't want to put too much emphasis on structure here.
Well, and honestly, again, we've kind of been like this with the past few weeks, like starting, stopping, starting. Once we get into a rhythm and really get things going, we'll get some topics going and we'll stay a little on topic. But
I will say it wasn't really our fault. Like I'm not gonna
no, it was nobody's fault.
I mean,
whenever you're starting something like this, there's going to be some fucking hiccups and bumps you got to get over when you're getting going.
Well, I found out that this internet issue wasn't my hardware here. It was a line running into the warehouse, and they had to find. I mean, this line runs for hundreds of feet, and they had to find where the interference was. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it took time to figure out what was going on, and finally, they've narrowed down the issue and fixed it. Apparently, so I've not had any issues today. Did Monday, and I was a little scared, but here we are. It seems like it's.
Somebody said, talk about the Texas cigar. Where can you get it? I don't know where you can get it. It's Alec Bradley is who is the producer of that cigar. I know the local place that I shop cigars locally, they carry Alec Bradley cigars, but they don't have those. So I mean, you might be able to look online at like, what's the fucking big cigar place or JR Cigars or something like that. They might have it.
Jose Garcia said, where is the I did something t-shirt? It's I did a thing.
I did a thing.
And I haven't made it yet. I think we agreed that would be my shirt.
Did we agree on that, or we say it was going to be a podcast shirt?
I don't know. Actually, we need to figure out how that's going to work with Bunker, right?
Yeah. Because
if it's between both of us, I don't know. We haven't figured that out. We haven't even monetized this podcast yet, which we should, but we haven't.
We got to get things really. Well, we got to figure all that out, taxes and shit.
We might as well wait until
it gets
2021.
complicated.
so we don't have to file for me a fourth tax return for 2020 just for 2 months. Doesn't make sense. Might as well wait till the next year. But yeah, probably next year. To be honest, I don't want to. I've got too much going on right now and too much coming up for the holidays. Especially now that I've been working on this $100 knife video, and Jeremy has been dragging his feet for a month and a half on it.
Okay, definitely not a month and a half, and some of that was not my fault. You know it. New coffee beans, need one for a good morning cigar. New coffee bean. Oh, dude, what is the coffee that I'm drinking right now?
You're drinking whiskey right now, Jeremy.
No, I mean,
this has gone too far. You were delusional. Maybe.
No, I've got it downstairs because I've been doing the trade coffee thing, which I've done a couple integrations with them on the channel, sponsored spots. I actually really like them because you can get a lot of really cool different coffees that you can't get locally through them. It's like a coffee subscription kind of service.
Did you give them my name?
Did I?
I don't know. They reached out.
Oh, maybe I did. If you asked me to, I probably did. They sent me one this month. I can't remember the name of it. The bag's downstairs, but it's a Brazilian coffee. It's like a medium roast Brazilian, and it is fucking delicious. Delicious. Very, very good. It's a good cigar coffee too, because it's got lots of chocolate notes in it. Very good. I know that wasn't a helpful fucking thing because I didn't give you the name of it. I can't remember, but I have found a lot of Brazilians lately that I've really liked. Brazilian coffees I've been digging lately.
Can I show you something? I had a little funny story to tell Alex earlier. Since we're talking about I did do a thing today, and I bought a slut.
You bought a slut?
I bought a slut.
Okay, I'll bite.
No, it was actually this really nice knife that did this. They did a small drop of them. I can't even remember who the maker is. There it is. Rogers OEM slut. It's a slim utility knife, and that's the acronym is SLUT.
I see. SLUT, slim utility knife. I like it.
There is a CRKT version of it if you want a more
cost on the. Go ahead, keep going. I'm just knocking out a couple of these while you're doing it. I have not had a Caldwell Midnight Express, so I cannot give you my thoughts on it.
That is the slut.
Ooh, that is a slut. It's a dirty slut. You're a dirty little girl. You're a dirty little girl. You are.
But it's so funny because
that's a good looking knife.
In my delivery, I use deliveries for tracking packages. In my deliveries app, I have a slut, which will be here in 3 days.
That's a sexy bitch.
I have a nutsack, which will
Sean
be here.
Dooley, you are welcome, my friend. I'm glad it worked out for you. I'm sorry. I'm just in between. Yeah. I'm just the quick answers. I'm just giving them to you.
I have a nutsack, a slut, and a dad hoodie, which I felt was a really good pairing of.
Ah, dude, a nutsack. I'm actually doing another nutsack video coming up not too long about their new bag they came out with. Well, it's not all that new, but the tack sack.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? It's actually kind of cool, man, because it's got molly webbing in it, so it's kind of like the all bag because you can really configure it to however the fuck you want because all the molly webbing on the inside. I actually think it's pretty cool.
That's what's coming my way too.
Yeah, the tack sack, dude. I think it's cool.
Look at that second line right there. That's also coming.
Oof, Norseman, get the fuck out of here with that. Those are sexy knives.
Dude, I got a buyer's choice on a Norseman, and I am really excited for it. I don't think I have a picture
whiskey,
of it here.
Knife fight whiskey, make it happen.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jeremy, what's your full name? I can't tell you all that. There's certain things I'm not divulged on the internet. People give out full names, and well, I mean, you could probably figure it out on the internet, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, Jeremy Sires is all anybody really needs to know.
Man, I wish I could. I wish I could find that picture of the Norseman coming my way, but I can't. It's okay. Let's see. Somebody said, yeah, Bunker does both of your shirts. Yes, actually, I am. Yeah. Well, not right now. I'm actually in transition phase. So the shirts you see on Carry Commission right now, most of those designs are going to be discontinued after I make the switch, which will be pretty soon, I think. Should be next couple of weeks. So if you see something on there, I think everything but the standard Best MBDC pocket shirt and the banner, the knife with the banner over it, though everything but those two are going to be discontinued. I'm not going to do them after.
Bunker's been great, man. I love Bunker. They've been real good to me. I like how they handle their shit. They have good shirts. It's all in house. It's all done at one place. It's a great situation.
I will say that I think I hate you because I think you got the last of the 112s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're out. So I
Well,
can't
then what
get
are they
one.
doing all my new hats on then? I've still got hats out there. They do it, print it to order.
I don't know. No, you have to have inventory of hats. I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's only like 10 or something at a time because they fill
They
up
had they had an alternative which they said was the same, and I said I'll do a sample of it just to see if I like it as much as
they do have one that's just like a 112 that they sent me a sample of one time because they were out. But if they're out, they won't be out for long. They'll get them back in because they ran out of the 112s before, and they sent me the sample, and you can't tell the difference. The only difference between the 112s and the one is this rubber part, the
Isn't
snap
it soft?
part. It's the 112s. It's particularly soft and pliable, and the other one it felt more like a standard snapback hat.
Right.
Who makes the slut, Taylor? Somebody wanted to know.
Rogers. Who makes the slut? Indeed, that is a good question. I can't
Acid
remember
deep
his
dish. If that's a acid cigar, I don't really dig acid cigars. Nothing wrong with them. I just don't. I don't like infused cigars. I stick with just your standard jobs. But some acid cigars, people really like them.
Richard Rogers is the maker of the slut.
Richard Rogers,
and
that's very.
It's not a cheap knife. It's not cheap at all. But you know me, sell some things, buy some things. So
back magnetic concealment. No, I haven't.
Or the Richard Rogers slut's about $530.
Bunkers send shirts fast. David Stewart says, yes, they do, man. Those motherfuckers. It's like, and that's one of the main reasons I got off of Printful is because they had the whole problem with Corona and they were taking like months to get shirts shipped. And I'm like, dude, and I know it was Corona and I wasn't blaming them for it. Like it was an unexpected thing that happened to them. But like
my guy, they took 2 months for an order of mine. 2 months. Dude. They have a warehouse in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I could drive there and be back in an hour.
I couldn't do it, man.
It took 2 months and it shipped from Germany.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Ugh.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, man. And
over it.
I couldn't do it. I had to switch. And Bunker has been fantastic. They ship fast, man. Like people get orders crazy fast. I tell you, they don't ship as fast as Exclusive though.
Hey,
little shout out to our boy. I don't think any of them are on here tonight, but little shout out to our boy.
Chad earlier. Chad was in here earlier. Yeah.
I mean, dude,
Batman.
I mean, dude,
Joe is a beast.
I mean, people were getting their man cards like the next day, like the day after we launched, people were already getting them 24 hours later. So that means they shipped them and they got to those people within 24 hours. That's fucking crazy shipping, bro. That's
Jeremy,
Chad sent me an email. He's like, Amazon, take that.
Jeremy, I did the Topo Hank drop
a
couple weeks ago. And I had them, people place their orders and I had them packed and shipped within an hour of them placing their orders. I've been waiting on Jeremy to ship a package for 9 months now.
Here's the thing, man. My last name is Sires, not fucking Amazon or not. What's Amazon's last name? What's that dude's name?
Bezos. Your middle name is Real Quick.
No, that's what you call me, Jeremy. Real Quick Sires because of my
because you are not real quick. That's the joke.
Ashtray update, dude. Here's the copper version. Did I ever show you guys the copper version? I've got a brass and a copper one. I think the first drop we're going to do is going to be all brass. I don't know. I don't think we made any of the coppers.
But dude, I can smell that from here.
Dude, this thing is so heavy, bro.
I can smell that over the cigar.
I mean, like, you could get a workout, like fucking, I feel my fucking delts burn, baby. The update is there's some coming. They're en route. I think they'll be available probably. Fucking swallowed my own spit. I think they'll be available probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're trying to get all the pending merch that we have, the custom stuff made, making sure we get it out for you guys. So anybody who wants to, partake for Christmas stuff. I saw that. Fuck you, Taylor, for highlighting that. We're trying to get all of it out by then. So I think within a couple weeks, but I'm not gonna lie, you guys are not going to be happy with the price point on these motherfuckers because they are expensive to manufacture. It is definitely going to be, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to sell out fast because of the price. I think it's going to be something that we just have on the store. And if people want something really nice, they can, they'll kind of trickle by them. But they're just crazy expensive to manufacture, man. Like we got the price as low as we could, but it's expensive. It's expensive. It's a solid piece of fucking brass and copper and the machining. And then just the shipping on those things is a bunch of money because of how much they weigh. Just getting them sent to us after they're made cost a ton because of how much they weigh. So, yeah, it's not going to be cheap, bro. It's going to be north of 200.
It'd be cheaper.
They're going to be expensive.
It'd be cheaper to go pick them up.
Wait, for real. They're going to be super expensive. But here's the thing. A Kentucky double, which is like a kind of a similar thing, right? It's like a coaster ashtray combo. It's just made of wood, fucking wood. And those things are like $160. So, this is a solid piece of, so they're going to be expensive, man. But they're probably the nicest ashtray I've ever seen in my life that I've ever had. So, it is what it is. We got cheaper stuff out there for people that don't want to drop big coin.
That's where I'm coming in with my ashtray. It's going to be made out of crumpled up aluminum foil and pressed.
You're going to make it out of aluminum foil. You're just going to actually pull Reynolds wrap off and like fashion it into an ashtray. And fucking.
I'm just going to ship people rolls of aluminum foil and say, this is your ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
It's single use ashtray. I mean, It's not a bad idea.
Dude, that ashtray took a long time to design too. I know people don't understand the R&D. If people don't know exclusive, a lot of the stuff we do with exclusive is designed from the ground up, right? Like I won't say any of the stuff you're in the works because I don't know how much of it you want people to know about yet, but like
I mean, I have a flashlight in production.
Some of the stuff that we're dropping, like I'm putting out like a little leaf and barrel Zippo and stuff like that's obviously not ground up. That's something we worked with Zippo to do. But like the man card and the ashtray and these whiskey glasses and all this is all stuff we designed from like nothing. Like, right. We work with like individual makers. These are hand blown. This was designed by somebody with exclusive and me to get all the specs and stuff. And we went through several iterations and months of trying different designs out and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of R&D, strangely enough, that goes into some of this stuff.
Have you seen the Rotten Design Evolution? I most definitely have. I'm pretty sure Jeremy has not. It's like if a Strider, like an S&G, had a baby with a Spyderco Payson, which you probably don't even know what that is either. Do you know what that is? I didn't think so.
No, that's why you see like a little bit of a blank face. I'm going,
Yeah, that was everybody listening when you were talking about camera stuff. That's
a good looking knife.
The Evolution. So it's not really technically like a cleaver blade, but that's how a cleaver, like an EDC cleaver, should be because you can lay that blade flat. But that's not a cleaver. It's just a Warncliffe sheep's foot, I guess.
I like it though. It's a good looking knife. I like the shape on it. It's a unique shape.
It does look like a Strider mixed with like a Payson or something. You don't know what the Payson is either, do you?
No, dude. You are okay. And we've talked about this before. You are to knives as I am to whiskey, right? So like. There's like going to be some whiskey stuff that I rattle off that you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And there's definitely a lot of knives that you have detailed knowledge on that I'm like, I love knives. I carry knives, but you are the guru of knives in comparison to me. I am kind of mid-level with knowing about knives. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but not near the stuff that you know.
This is the Payson. It's designed by Peter Ascenti, who also makes the Nirvana.
I like it.
So it's an integral, right? So solid piece of titanium for the handle. They're not scales or handles. Like it's one solid handle.
I like it.
Yeah, they're about $450, $500, and they're discontinued, so they're only going to go up now.
I like it.
Yeah, love those. Never bought one, but I need to start reeling in the knives and getting rid of some.
What can you say? Whiskey glasses. I'm just reading the comments. Sorry, Taylor. They're from Peter's makers, so going to be pricey. They're not from the same guy that made Peter's. They're actually from a different guy, but similar kind of process. They're handmade, hand blown, all that kind of stuff. Second bourbon glasses, second man card drop. Second man card drop, I think will be maybe in the next couple weeks. It's a very small drop though. There's not near as many this time. The ones that we're dropping this next time are just going to be ones that we actually had when we had the first drop, but the walnut boxes they come in, we didn't have enough of those. So we had to reorder more of the walnut boxes. So there was a small amount we didn't have boxes for that. Now we have the boxes. We're going to do a second drop probably in the next week to 2 weeks.
My next drop is going to be a Truly koozie.
Get the fuck out of here. Because you do have some stuff coming.
Not much.
Patreon content. Yes, there will be some Patreon stuff. I still need to get a Patreon only live stream. I want to do that sometime soon, but shit's so busy. I just haven't found time to squeeze one in, but I really want to do some Patreon only live streams coming up at some point. And I want to start using the lens. Do you ever use the lens with your Patreon? Do you do a lot on your Patreon? That's a good
lens.
The lens. It's like Instagram stories for Patreon, right? So it's called a lens. And like,
I didn't know that was
you can just do. Yeah, you can just do like short little things, throughout your day or whatever, just to give people on Patreon some, extra behind the scenes content and stuff. I want to start using those more because that's really a good, easy way for me to integrate that in and give the Patreon some behind the scenes look at stuff and a little more content without it being extremely difficult for me to, adding a lot to my workflow. But the couple times I've done them, not a ton of people have watched them. So maybe I'll try to start doing that more frequently and adding some stuff along with some Patreon only live streams and stuff. My goal was to do a live stream before the podcast one night. Since I've already got all my podcast shit set up, just do like a Patreon only live stream for like an hour before the podcast and then roll into the podcast. Now you do some Patreon. You do some Patreon only live streams, don't you?
I was supposed to, and I did like 2.
Oh, I'm going to do a box of Lone Star ticks. Fuck you.
Go ahead.
That's like the whole reason I don't go outdoors. No, just kidding.
Speaking of like exclusive drops, not from the company exclusive, but exclusive drops on Carry Commission stuff that I've got in the works. This right here, this is kind of unannounced.
That's nice.
This is going to be the Carry Commission exclusive wallet. So this is the bifold from Redeemed Creations. That's going to be the Carry Commission exclusive colorway. So green with a brown, and then this one's also going to be on there as an exclusive with this color with green thread.
I love a good fucking.
And instead of the Redeemed Creation stamp, I believe we haven't firmed all this up yet, but I believe I'll have the Carry Commission stamp there, and then on the back, probably in the middle, there will be that Redeemed logo there. So we'll be doing different stuff on Carry Commission pretty soon. I've been working really hard in the downtime, not my downtime, in the back and the behind the scenes working on Carry Commission and trying to get it up and running again. It's been tough.
Those are hot though. I like those wallets a lot.
Yeah.
I'm me and patina. Me and leather, man. I love some leather. I'm into the natural leather though, man. Not gonna lie, that's one of my jam lately has been the natural leather.
But you remember those spots that were on there before the stream?
They're gone now, huh?
Yeah, I messaged him about it, and he said you had it in your pocket and you were sweating it, weren't you? And I said, yeah. Dude, that's darkened a lot.
Look at this weird shit that rubbed off for me having like a Zippo in my pocket, and it like darkened up really dark, like right there. But that's the cool thing about natural leather is it's going to get character and like weird marks, and they'll all kind of blend in, and it's your shit, right? That's the thing about fucking patina. That's the whole deal, right?
Hey,
like
how many patinas are in that? If you're doing the drinking game along with this, and I hit this button, how many patinas are being said? I think it's 4 layers, and I think we each say it 3 times. That's 12. That's 12 shots every time I hit this button.
Patina.
Yeah, you're drunk. Bye.
That's 24 shots. I just hit that twice, and then we'll just do this for good measure.
Patina. Please release the Zippo. The Zippo, they ship to us today. So the Zippos will probably be up within a couple weeks also. Glasses, same thing. Everything right now, just so I don't have to keep reiterating and boring you guys, all this stuff should be available within the next month.
I did a drop of these Gestapo Hanks with the green thread.
Hey, look, just so you guys know, I say this all the time. It is always in my pocket. I am not fucking around when I say this. This is probably the piece of EDC that I carry more. This is always in my pocket. Just so you know, it gets used, Taylor.
I did a drop of these thinking 200 would be enough and they were gone. So I have a lot of people who are mad that they can't get one now. The problem is we only ordered enough fabric for 200. So
Well,
I have to wait. It took months to put this together, and now I have to wait for more. So I would like to just have them in stock, but that was the plan with having 200. I figured I'd drop them and sell 100 and keep 100. And
well, that's kind of the plan.
In an hour, they sold out in an hour, dude. Like
that's kind of the plan with exclusive in general, right? Is there's going to be some stuff like the Zippo lighters or some of the stuff you're doing that we're going to try to have available all the time. So if you want to visit the store, there's stuff that's going to be out there. And then there's going to be the more custom stuff that's like done from the ground up. It's probably going to be like limited drops of that stuff that, you know, it's only certain amounts. Like the ashtrays, I think we're only getting a small amount of those because they're so fucking expensive. I mean, the amount of money it costs to order, I'm not going to talk figures, obviously, but they're fucking expensive. Let's just say that it's a lot of goddamn money.
Right. Yeah. And speaking to that, someone said, do I still have the Fox Suru run in the works? I toyed with the idea because I really like the Suru a lot. I think it's a neat blade. It's a thick stock and a small blade, which some people aren't going to like, but I like the Suru. I really do. But I ran numbers with Fox, and one, Fox, their quality has been slipping, and two, the numbers, the minimum order quantity, how much I'd have to put up for that is like, it's a chunk of change. And because of that, I don't think people get that either with merch. Like some of this shit's expensive, bro. Like you're talking like big money to put in orders for this stuff. Well, see, I would try to do like a pre-order for something like that. And like, if the pre-order didn't hit the minimum order quality after a certain time, I'd just refund all the money.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a big risk. Like if I spend,
somebody asked to show this, so I'm just doing this while you're talking. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah. Let's say
mine's all scratched up from being in my pocket.
I'm just going to throw a number out there. This is not what it would cost, but if I were to spend, say, $20,000 on knives and I can only move like 5,000 of them, that's a problem, you know, like $5,000 worth, not 5,000 knives. But yeah, that's a problem. So yeah, it definitely, getting into doing runs of knives is something I want to do, but doing it now just doesn't seem like the right time.
Well, dude, knives are expensive, bro. Knives are expensive.
Hey, speaking of, someone said election night podcast for shits and giggles.
Somebody wanted to see the lighter running. What kind of insert it had? It has a
you did do the dual. Nice.
Well, it comes with both. It comes with the dual flame, and then all Zippos come with the standard Zippo insert. So there will be both inserts in the box. But a lot of people for cigars don't like using a standard Zippo, so I made sure that we did one with the jet for all the lighter folks.
So I toyed with the idea of a Zippo, right? Mm-hmm. But I looked up the last time one like this was done, and the retail from Zippo for this version was $1,000.
What the fuck was it made of? Like virgin titanium. Blood and unicorn tears? Like what? It
was milled from a solid block of titanium, and
it was $1,000.
Sold them for $1,000. Yeah.
Okay, I feel better about my ashtray now. Jesus Christ! I mean, how much titanium can be in a fucking Zippo? They're not that big.
So I was like, not gonna do that. But what I was gonna say was, somebody said the election night podcast. Technically, this was the last Friday or last Wednesday in the month, so we should have done a Friday night live, but we did this instead. So we were talking about switching up the Friday night hangouts to the first Friday of the month, because this podcast overlaps with week 1 Wednesday at Blade HQ. And I mean, I'm open to that. So that would be next week we do Friday night instead. But
I'm down with that if everybody's cool with that. If you want to do that, Taylor, just so we're not biting on Blade HQ's time and all that.
I think technically I was supposed to go camping next weekend though.
And the first Friday of the month seems to be, I don't know, maybe a little easier, because the last Friday gets weird, because the last the last week of the month, we've talked about it before, is always so squirrely with YouTube folks. Somebody asked if I know Zippo tricks. Not really. Not really. I can, when a normal Zippo, I can do the whole like, flip it opens thing, but like, no, I don't know a ton. I can like snap light it and flick, but no, I don't know any like cool ones. Will the Zippo ship to other countries? Yeah. Exclusive ships everywhere. Unless there's some kind of weird requirement for shipping lighters, but it doesn't ship with any butane in it or any fluid in it. So I don't, as long as there's no weird restrictions I'm not aware of, exclusive definitely ships worldwide. I can't promise pricing. Some places is expensive as shit. That's the same thing that's happened with Bunker. Some people have been like, man, I really wanted a shirt, but the shipping is as much as the shirt to get it to where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, sorry, man. I get it. I can't do anything about the shipping costs.
So when I did the last TPT drop, the TPT slide, when I made them public for good, did that, and somebody bought a TPT slide and a shirt, but because the shirt shipped from Printful and the TPT slides shipped from Big Idea Design, what happened is they got double charged for international shipping.
Ooh.
They paid $30 some in shipping, and I was like, I feel really bad. Like, I want to refund half your shipping, but
yeah, dude,
they were like,
tough.
yeah, they were like, it's okay. And I'm just like, that sucks. I wish it wasn't that way, but
yeah,
the
dude,
way it's done, like that's the only way to do it. So
it's tough.
they got a Hank and a TPT slide. And I was trying to tell them that I could just have Big Idea Design ship the TPT to me and I would ship that with their Hank, but they said it's okay. And I'm just like, that sucks, man. That's 30. It was almost $35 in shipping. I think it sucked.
Somebody said, Jeremy, ship to Canada? Yeah, I think so. But both of the companies I work with, Bunker for the kind of apparel, and then exclusive for all the other like custom stuff, they both ship worldwide. So shouldn't be any problems with shipping.
I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm so glad that you don't do any fulfillment for your own stuff.
It would never happen, bro.
I know that people would order something from you and you'd ship it like a month or 2 months
yeah,
later.
Dude. Well, that's why I got with Bunker and stuff, because I knew that wasn't in my bandwidth of time to get shit done. And I know quick shipping is important, and I know that just wouldn't happen. Not because I wouldn't want to, just because of bandwidth, man. You only have so much time in a day and so much shit you got to do. And I don't have the extra bandwidth to ship a bunch of stuff. So, don't make the Zippos too expensive. I mean, they're, I forgot what the actual price point of these is going to be. But I think they're marginally more than if you got a plain Zippo from Zippo with the same, because you can buy this Zippo from Zippo with the double insert. And I think it's just marginally more than if you bought a plain one from Zippo, because there's a little bit of expense in engraving and stuff like that. And then our packaging, because we bouge up the packaging a little bit and stuff, but they're not crazy more expensive than what Zippo charges.
Yeah, I'd like to get another product out there. The one I'm working on is just something that takes time.
That's the one I didn't say anything about, because I didn't think you wanted the ball dropped on that one, or the hammer dropped on that one yet. But I
shared it to a story.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I can't reveal too many details because some of the specs and stuff aren't firmed up yet, because I'll put it this way. I wanted a small flashlight with everything.
Right.
There's so many really good small flashlights, but they all have some sort of compromise somewhere. And when I said, let's do this, I said, I want all of these features. And I listed them out, and they're like, maybe. We don't know. Last I heard, they're on prototype number 3, because prototypes number 1 and 2, it was just not possible.
Well, and that's part of what we were talking about earlier, that people, when they see the price of something, they're like, oh, well, whatever. It's like, man, you don't understand the months of work that goes into some of this stuff. Like this ashtray, we started messing with, like, I mean, it's been like 6 or 7 months, bro. Like getting everything dialed in, getting prototypes made, and then working with the factory to see if they can do this type of machining. And they send it, and you don't like the machinings, then you got to tell them to re-fucking do it. I mean, it's a goddamn nightmare. I can't imagine what you're dealing with, like, because there's technical shit that's in that, and like that's a whole nother bag of worms that I wouldn't want to deal with.
They got to make a custom board for it, and try to make everything fit within the specs that I've listed, and it's pushing the envelope. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's new tech, and I think people are going to really like it. I know I'm excited for it. I should have a prototype in hand, I think, this month, assuming everything goes to plan.
I can't wait to see it, man. That's going to be really cool. I think that's exciting stuff. I mean, that's another level of custom that I haven't even gotten into yet, because all the stuff we've done custom is all like, it's custom, but it's there's not moving shit, right? Like when you start getting into that, it's a different devil altogether.
And because this is such a big process, I think it's going to be one of those things that stays in stock.
Yeah.
But I think
because there's so much time went into developing it, you don't want to sell, a few hundred of them and then be like, that's it. Like, nope.
Right. And I don't want to just offer one light. I'd like to take my knowledge and my experience and make the lights that I want to exist that don't exist,
Right.
So that's where we're going with that. And I don't want it to just be, 200 of them and done. I want it to be I'd like to have a line of flashlights. So
who's manufacturing? I don't know if they're talking about the flashlight or any of my stuff. It's all different people. It's all through Exclusive. They handle all of it. They have a lot of people in the industry because if people don't know, Exclusive is the same guys that do Big Idea Design. And they have a lot of inroads into manufacturing and stuff from, doing Big Eye. So it's all people they work with for everything. I don't know individually names of the individual people. Basically, it's the Big Idea Design guys.
I think they're asking about who's making the flashlight, because there's a lot of people asking. It's not going to be branded as anything but carry commission. It's going to be a carry commission flashlight.
Right.
So it's not Olight or Raylight or anybody. It's you wouldn't know the manufacturer, but it's branded as my flashlight. So I'm not working with Olight or Raylight or any of these companies. We're straight to manufacturing. So
David Swall says bandwidth. Jeremy is definitely dial up versus bunker is gig speed.
Dial up is way overstating his speed.
Yeah, the dial-ups, you're wrong, dude. I'm snail mail. I'm not even like current day snail mail. I'm like back in the day when the post office was actually motherfuckers on horses. It was like a dude like with a satchel carrying some shit on a horse.
Pony Express.
The Pony Express, that's what it was called. That's me. And bunker is for sure gig speed fiber. Those motherfuckers are they're getting shit done.
Will we ever get a Taylor Martin knife? So
yeah, man. We kind of just talked about that a little bit, right?
I can't. Well, no, we were talking about runs of like an exclusive run of an existing knife. I can't say anything about my plans because, well, the manufacturer that I'm going to use isn't public knowledge yet.
So it's all very hush hush.
It is extremely hush hush. So
it's all very hush hush.
I should have a prototype from their very first knife at some point, but it's nobody knows about it. Nobody knows anything about it. And I'm very excited. I don't have any plans, by the way. I've not even drawn a knife up. I don't have any plans to make a knife, but I have decided that if I'm going to have a knife manufactured, I'm using them. So, and it's not Rayot. It's not anybody that you are familiar with. Actually, you're familiar with them, but you don't know. I'm talking too much. It's a secret. It's all secret. So
it's all a big bug out question. Do you hold I do. Yes. Do I hold the axis lock back when closing? Yeah, I hold it back and flip it closed. I flip it, and then when I'm close it, I pull the axis and I just flick my wrist and it closes on its own. Well, but if you time a bug out right, if you flick it and then let that axis lock go, it like grabs and like pulls it shut. Yes.
Is it matte? He's talking about matte Wearwine. No, it is not matte. You wouldn't guess it. You would not know at all. So don't try to guess it. You're not going to get it. And even if you did, I wouldn't tell you. I would love Matt to manufacture my knives, but he's still making everything by hand. He doesn't even have like a CNC. So no.
Sounds like black bag work. It is. It's all very secret. There's people being waterboarded. There's all kinds of weird shit that goes on.
There are some changes. I've touched on this stuff. I've not even told Jeremy the whole story, but all I can really say is there are going to be some changes with best MEDC moving forward, and I'm very, very excited about it. And yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm pumped. I'll put it this way: I might have an editor soon.
Oh, editor!
I might have I'm moving into a studio with a shop, and I might have an editor.
You know, we've talked about that whole editor thing, and I don't know, man. I would like to have an editor to do the rough cut so I could get that part done.
I'll probably do the final touches and just make sure everything is how I want it. But yeah, I mean, have somebody who can knock out all the robotic work for me, free me up to be shooting videos while they're editing, or have them hold a camera for me.
Oh, dude, that part would be fantastic.
Oh,
my whole thing is the edit to me is a big part of the process, right? Like,
well, if you find somebody and you spend enough time with them, they can kind of learn your style. So think of it as like a Peter and Kirk thing, right? If you didn't know Kirk existed,
yeah, dude, Kirk nails it, man. Kirk
you would think they were all Peter edits because he knows.
Let's be honest. There's not a lot of Kirks out there, bro.
Kirk is the magician.
Dude, there's that Peter fucking nailed it with that guy. I mean,
he was Maddie's editor first.
I know. I saw that whole thing, but he fucking nailed. There are not a lot of Kirks out there. A lot of people that are editors, they're not going to be able to do the shit that Kirk does as good as Kirk does it, right? Like, that dude's a magician. He really is. He does awesome stuff. Awesome.
Evan Taylor says, when can we expect these changes? Not until, well, actually, okay, so the studio won't happen until next year. That's more of a construction thing. I've got to have the whole place built out. So it's in the same building I'm in now, but I'm going to have my own access. I'm going to have a garage door. I'll have a window. I can see the outside world. But for all of that to happen, that's going to be next year, early next year. So I'm hoping January. I was supposed to hear back from the person this week, and I have not heard anything yet. So I need to check in with them. But editor, up in the air. I don't know. I really wouldn't want an editor now because I don't have the space. Well, I could put a desk right there. I mean, there's a desk there with nothing on it, but maybe that could happen sooner. But the changes for the channel and the stuff that I'm not really elaborating on too much, that I think in November. So pretty soon. I mean, that's next week. So.
And then we'll have internet problems again, and the podcast will take next week.
No, we'll go back to so one of the changes that I can talk about is the EDC Weekly will once again be weekly, right? So I'm working with a company to make that happen. And one of my requirements to make that happen is an editor, because I can't do that and other videos and keep it weekly. The EDC Weekly takes 2.5 days to produce.
Dude, people give me shit about that all the time. They're like, Jeremy, more content, more content. I'm like, man, this shit takes time. I wish I could do more. I'm not the fastest person in the world to begin with. And then people don't know the time that it takes sometimes. And then somebody just asked the question, who films me when I'm in my B-roll? Answer is me. I film me in my B-roll. So tell me that shit's not a pain in the ass and doesn't take 32 takes to make sure everything's in focus and everything's good when you're filming yourself. It's a pain in the dick.
And see, I got really tired of doing that. I've been doing video for much longer than Jeremy, and it's no excuse other than me just kind of being tired of it. But it's just, I've made over 2,000 videos now. And I just got really tired of it. And I got the luxury of sometimes having somebody else shoot the B-roll of me. Like, I shoot my own B-roll of products, but when it's video of me, I had somebody with a camera and that was it was so easy. And I don't have that anymore. And I've got the jib, which I use some, but I don't know. I'm lazy. I'm comfortable right now, and I don't like being comfortable. I need something to stir things up. But
that's how I get all the moving shots, because people are probably going, well, how the fuck do you film yourself when it's moving, bitch? You're lying. No, sliders that are automated sliders and jibs that are automated jibs, and you have to set up the move and get the focus and then get in the shot, and it's a bit of a process. It's a thing.
I bought that jib, which is right there. I bought it with the idea of doing B-roll of myself, but
I do it.
I know you do, but it's not nearly as easy as you would think.
No, it's hard.
Especially
and it usually takes multiple takes to get everything in focus and framed correctly so that you're not fucked up.
And especially if you're trying to do like a B-roll of something like this, which is always going to be a macro shot.
No, macro shots are fucking.
You can't do it.
Yeah, it's hard.
You really can't do it with the jib.
It's super hard.
I've not ended up using the jib for B-roll nearly as much as I thought, but it is my C cam when I'm doing my normal videos. It's my C cam, and it makes my third angle always move, which is really, really nice. But it makes it so difficult to get the shot with that third angle. Things go out of focus because you have to have autofocus on. Things go out of focus. You miss framing. I mean, it's just.
It's hard. It's very tough. So like you said, especially with long lenses make it even worse.
And I'm just so excited for just even the idea of having somebody here helping me. But the whole thing I was mentioning was the EDC Weekly. Theoretically, if all of this works out, which I shouldn't even be talking about it because I don't know that it's going to work the way I want it to. One of the stipulations was I need an editor to make this happen. And somebody to help me shoot. I mean, that's kind of the thing, but also the EDC Weekly will see a format change. So it's not going to be what you've been seeing for the last 90 some episodes. I've done 90, almost 100 EDC Weekly videos.
That's a lot, dude.
And for me, I know people, there are people in the comments saying, I love EDC Weekly. I live for the EDC Weekly. I hate it. And I only really hate it. I love planning it. I love shooting it.
You guys
editing it because
do not know how many times I've had to hear Taylor complain about editing EDC Weekly.
It's just keyframing. He hates
editing it.
It is just so much.
It's just the edit.
It's just
that's the only thing you ever complain about is the edit. You're like, I fucking hate editing the EDC Weeklies. That's you bitch like. Well, when you were doing it weekly, you bitched weekly to me about it. You're like, I fucking hate editing this. It's so bad.
Well, there's two things about it that make me not like it. It's the edit is way more difficult than everything else. And I can live with that. But the second thing is it's just repetitive, right? It's the same thing every single time. And for the longest time, for the last several months, it's been the same products in all the videos. So I wanted to switch it up, change things up. And the new format will,
I'm sorry.
I think it'll be interesting.
Jeremy's content is like waiting on a baby to be born. Takes forever.
That is not just content from Jeremy. That is just Jeremy.
That's just yeah.
Jeremy has one speed, and that is slow.
Hey man, it's hard to do shit when you're smoking a cigar.
That's true. I will say Jeremy works a lot harder now than he did when I first met him. And I think that's because I kind of showed you how slow you were.
Well, and for a minute, I was trying to pump out like 2 and 3 videos a week, and I did it for a little while, and my views went down. And I was like, Taylor, I'm literally working 9 days a week, which by the way, I know there's only 7, but I was like literally working 7 days a week, like 12 hours a day to be able to get out 2 and 3 videos a week. And my fucking views were dropping. And I'm like, so I'm working my ass off, not taking any days off, and not as many people are watching. So I went back to like a more reasonable upload schedule that I could actually take a day off a week or 2 days off a week and not work 7 days a week.
Well, this guy says, Jeb says, if y'all need a video editor, I can help. Sorry, but if I'm getting a video editor, they're also going to be shooting a video for me, which means they need to be here in my office. So it's not just going to be an editor. I'm going to put that person through the ringer. I want another me. Young, like I want me at, 18 or 19. Somebody young, willing to learn. But when I first started talking to Jeremy, I was sitting there pumping out 2-3 videos a week, and he was doing like one every other week.
Yeah.
And
I went back to that recently. My uploads have been slow because there's just been a lot of personal shit in the background going on with my dad and stuff that I've had to just family stuff that's been happening that is taking up more of my time. And it's been tough keeping the schedule up. So I have been a little slower on the uploads lately than normal.
Dude,
A
I
lot of
didn't
people-
realize I have 2. I've been.
Yeah, you
I've been-
haven't been putting out as many as you did because you used to like destroy me with like 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 uploads a week, and you haven't been coming close to that lately.
Well,
Lots of people are saying, by
that?
the way, that they love the B-roll in the past video. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it.
I need to get back to B-roll. That was my thing for the longest time. I'd start off all of my videos with a B-roll sequence, and I haven't done that in a long time.
Dude, I love B-roll. I love shooting it. I love editing it. I don't do it in every video just because when you do, like, people don't, those little like 30-second, 15 to 30-second B-roll sequences can take
Hours.
twice as long as the entire video to shoot, right? Like, so I can't do it in every video because then I really would only be putting out one video every several weeks.
Dude, when I had my last studio with that production company, I get a product in. I'm like, hey, can we shoot something on this day? And they're like, yeah, what time? And I'd roll up. They'd go get their 1DX and it just boop, 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 boop. 30 seconds. I'm like, all right, thank you guys. I'll see you later. And now it's like 5, 6, 7 hours just to shoot some B-roll. And I'm just like, I don't have time for this.
You've watched Colder, right? Sam Colder.
Yeah. Oh God.
He uploads like once a month.
Yeah.
Once every month and a half. And that's because, I mean, dude, those edits he does are extensive. Like that's not shit you can just shoot weekly. Like it takes him weeks to get that footage and then weeks to do that edit. So like, yeah, he just doesn't upload. Depending on the intricacy of the edit depends on how often you can upload. Unless you have like an editor or something that can be doing some of that shit for you, then you can speed it up.
Right.
But if you're doing it all yourself, there's just only so much you can do.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to complain about editing in general. It's probably my least favorite part of all of this. I procrastinate videos because I'm just tired of editing. And it's not just the edits, it's the style of videos I do. They're very similar. I can power through some of them now, which I'm happy with. A lot of it used to be the computer, right? I've talked about that in the past. Like it was a slog because I'd try to edit and the computer was just lagging. It couldn't keep up. Now, what is that?
No, that's your computer.
Oh yeah. And now I've got a computer that can handle it, and it's a mental thing now, right? Like I know that it used to be bad. I know now that it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, but I'm expecting it to be bad. But now, I mean, I edited a video today. I had an hour and a half of footage, and I edited that all down in like an hour.
Dude, can we talk for just 1 second? This might bore people, so I'm going to try not to go into detail about this.
Oh, this is going to be boring.
Well, because I don't know how many people that are currently in the chat. I mean, at this point, we're usually dropped down to the core people. Yeah, we're down to 172. So we're down to the core folks. But so I don't know how many of you guys give a fuck about this stuff. So I'll keep it short. But speaking of lagging, right? This new fucking camera.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you're going to lose everybody here, Jeremy.
My God, dude. My old camera.
Me.
Dude, my old camera, I could like render a video in like a 15-minute video. I could render in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. This new fucking 4K 422 10-bit Kodak shit. I mean, it looks fantastic and I love it and I'm happy I have it. It's the greatest thing ever. But oh my God, you've got to have a NASA computer to edit this shit. Like it's so fucking.
You told me that one of your video files was once you converted to ProRes, right? And it was like 500 gigabytes for 500 gigabytes for one video file. 500
gigs for one video file. Yeah, I mean, it was a long video file because it was a big, long talking head sequence. But I mean, it was 500 gigs because you have to convert to ProRes or your computer will explode. Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I'm gonna fucking zip it. I'm calming it down. But it is good SSDs don't even help, dude. It's the process. You have to convert to ProRes because the Kodak is so intensive on computers. And then when you convert to ProRes, it fucking the files just blow up so big. I know. I see all the fucking Z's. I'm over it. I just wanted to say quick that I love this new camera, but holy shit, it's hard on a computer.
But yeah, no. For me, it's a mental thing, right? Like. My edits used to take 8-9 hours because every time I would try to move the playhead in the editor, my computer would lag for like 10 seconds.
Did you convert to ProRes?
No, because it would take forever. So I bought this massive beast of a PC, and it's been great ever since. So it's more of a mental thing. I got that fixed, and then it became the heat in the office, and I couldn't shoot.
Yeah, because
it's like you fix one thing and something else breaks. And
Davis
that's
Wallace wants to know if he sends some crazy hot sauce, would we try it on the stream? Here's the problem with that. I have no problem with that, and I would love to do that. That would be fun. However, and by the way, you guys cannot take my man card for me saying this because I made it, so fuck you guys. If I eat something crazy hot on this fucking podcast, I will probably not make it through the whole podcast. I'll have to go take a shit because in my older years, I love hot sauce, but hot sauce wreaks havoc on my digestive tract. Wreaks havoc.
Man card revoked.
Dude, I can't help it. It gives me the fucking butt pee, bro.
You know what helps? You know what helps?
What?
Drink a Truly.
Drink a Truly.
Oh man, but
true.
But yeah,
I would love to try some. I love hot sauce. I fucking love hot sauce. But I mean, I would try it like a little bit maybe. But dude, hot sauce tears my stomach up these days, and it's like it's this cruel trick because I fucking love hot food. But it gives me the butt pee now, man. I have to be careful about spicy food because it just, I mean, I'm in there dumb and dumber in it, man. Just fucking, I mean, it's bad. It is bad.
We have really tanked this conversation. We have Jeremy talking about butt pee.
Dude, you know what I'm talking about. When you get that shit, you're just pissing out your ass. It's just, there's no consistency to it whatsoever. It's just water. You know what I'm talking about. Butt pee.
Butt pee.
Let me look directly at the camera. Butt pee.
Patina.
You'll probably make one out of the butt pee.
Yes, I should, shouldn't I? Oh my God, what has this episode been? That's probably a good place to wrap this up. What do you think? I don't know where to go from butt pee.
Well, normally you go to maybe some wet wipes of some nature, possibly a bidet,
Imodium,
some Imodium.
Jesus Christ.
That's usually where you go. Or you just avoid hot food like I do. Not, I mean, I can eat like mild, hot, spicy food, but like the shit he's talking about, crazy hot food, dude, that would probably tear my stomach.
I don't necessarily like super hot sauce. Like I like stuff that's got flavor, but super hot. This is so true. So true. Anything but Halloween. So just to be clear, since we do these live, I've got to come up with a name for the podcast before we do the podcast. And really, it's not easy to come up with an agenda before because the thing is, Jeremy Sires is my co-host. So when I say, hey, let's talk Halloween, scary, spoopy shit, we get on here and Jeremy's like, yeah, that's all great and good and everything, but butt pee. So you see, I have this catch-22 of do I try to find a topic and try to keep Jeremy on topic, or do I just pick something, go with it, and change the title later? Right? Like it's just this weird conundrum. And
well, and here's the thing:
the title of this podcast tomorrow will be butt pee.
Somebody had asked, when were we going to start doing guests? Right? So
yeah.
We were trying to get a rhythm going before we got guests, and then we had some technical issues that we finally, I think, got worked out because we actually, by the way, Taylor, I think we made it through the whole podcast without any technical fucking issues, so we're good. But we will start having some guests on. It is the worst Halloween ever.
See, we're on topic.
We're on topic. Too much candy will give you butt pee. See, we circled back around. See how we did that? Fucking came around. But we will start having guests on, and then when you have guests on, right? There's no need for a topic. The topic is guest fucking appear, whatever. And then we just talk about whatever, touch on whatever the reason they're on the podcast, whatever they're into, knife maker, fucking whatever. So I think it'll start to kind of hone in a little bit when we get going on that. I think it'd be fun to do some like, we get going some like interactive stuff on the podcast at some point, like do some whiskey tastings on some occasionally or something where I send you some samples and we do some shit like that. But this thing's in the
Whiskey Knife Fight first edition single batch malt whiskey is going to be called butt pee.
Dude, nobody would drink it. Who the fuck wants a whiskey called butt pee? Like, seriously, would you buy it if it was called butt pee?
Yes. No. No, but that's, I just wanted to clear that up. Like, I'm going to be basically just pulling a name out of a hat for a podcast episode. And then when we shoot the episode, we do this live stream, it's going to change.
Yeah.
That's just the only way to do it. If
the wives.
I'm going to be honest.
That'd be a fun one to do sometime. Have the wives on.
Yeah, Alex has wanted to be on a podcast for a long time, and then now she's like, I don't know, but I'm happy to have her on. We just have to have a babysitter now, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's
we do this at night.
Yeah. And I've got to make sure all my kids are like, I got to give them all some fucking Benadryl or something to make sure they all sleep and don't come up here and like interrupt the podcast. But there's some, now that we're hopefully we're past the technical stuff and we get rolling, I think we'll have some cool stuff coming forward. It won't be as much of this like random stuff. We'll have some guests. I really do think we should do some like,
Jeremy, this is a question for you.
What's that?
What are the tasting notes on the butt pea whiskey?
I'm going to say a little acidic, very earthy, acidic, a little bit of like bog, like a boggy kind of moss flavor, with hints of picante corn.
Oh, we have hit rock bottom. This is episode 7 and we have hit rock bottom.
No, see, somebody else said corn, caramel and corn niblets. See, somebody was on my page. They knew it was coming. Hints of peanuts.
Corn niblets just makes that awful.
Butterscotch. Oh, I see what you did there. Butterscotch. I like it. See, people are clever in the comments. It's good.
See, what's going to happen?
Is Jeremy Tank? Hell no, dude. I've had like one drink. It's like probably 2 ounces of whiskey.
What's going to happen?
That's a light day for me.
Our wives are going to get on the podcast. Jeremy's going to start talking about butt pee, and they're both going to walk off.
Dude, my wife lives with me. She knows. You got to remember, my wife has known me since I was 22.
I've heard you on the phone. I've heard her on the phone with you talking to her and how over it she is.
Right. She's dealt with me since I was like 21 or 22 or 23. So, and I'm 42. So like 20 years, like nothing I say really surprises her at this point, if I'm being honest. I occasionally
John, that is a very good point. At least all you can go from here is up.
See, I think somebody said it earlier. You set expectations low. Expectations low and then you over deliver.
Yeah, yes, that is where we're going to end this because I have nowhere to go from there. We have bottomed out, folks.
Okay.
All right, we'll take 2 more questions. How about that? 2 more questions, make them good. I really want to fill this glass up, but I got to go home, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm done drinking for the night. It's time to switch over to finishing this cigar and some water. Let's see. Didn't bring a girl over. Don't talk about butt pee. Oh, dude, my kids are in so much trouble when they get. It's my oldest son is now at that age, and he just doesn't even know the shit he's about to experience. At least with him, it's the boy. They don't get embarrassed as much as the girl. I feel bad for my daughter.
$100 knife episode from Matt Everly. That is being held up currently by one Jeremy Sires. He received the knives that are supposed to be sent to me, the secret knives that are supposed to be sent to me last week.
What?
And he still has not made it to the post office.
I haven't, but I bought Taylor a bottle of whiskey to butter up the fact. So I feel like I earned a little forgiveness for sending it along with a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. So that video would have happened already, but
in my defense, it did take me a while to get the knife. Like it's not like I've had the knife for weeks. It was like a week. I think I've had the knife and it's been a busy week, but yes.
Hey,
somebody asked about cigar bundles. Actually, somebody asked about this earlier. I wanted to hit it. Cigar bundles. Yeah. I'm working on a bunch of cigar stuff. I don't know any exact dates. I was going to try to get one out to you guys for Christmas, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm working on some bundles with the Pravada, like always. I'm also working on some cigars. I'm getting some like a Sires cigar where I'm not doing the blending, but I'm giving them the notes that I want in the cigar. They're blending it, sending me samples. I'm trying them, and we're tweaking, and I'm making a sire cigar. So we're going to do that coming up soon too. So
And they're all going to be Texas Lanceros.
they're all going to be Texas Lanceros, and the tasting notes are going to be
Butt pee.
butt pea niblets.
Jesus. All right, that's it. That's it.
bourbon blind. That's what I'm saying. We need to do some episodes like that. I think it'd be fun. Like,
Well, then we both have to buy the bottles, but if I can't
no, I'm
get
saying I'll
the
send
bottle-
you. I'm going to order some sample bottles because I've been meaning to get some samples to you for a while now, and then I can send you samples of the shit that I have, and we can do like some blinds or get somebody to send us some. We'll do some stuff like that in the future.
So you're hearing it here. Jeremy is going to send these to me. So if you want a bourbon blind, wait time of about a year, probably, approximately.
Okay. Patina, go fuck your patina self.
Patina.
Can we do like a butt pea patina?
Oh God!
Could you get a patina from butt pea?
Somebody asked that a minute ago.
I bet you there could be a butt pea patina.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
I mean, I wouldn't want to probably use the scales on a knife after somebody butt peed on it because it might have a little funk, but I bet you it would create an interesting patina.
okay. Yep. All right,
saying.
Jeremy.
I'm just keeping it real.
Everybody's leaving now. I'm also leaving, so you can keep
Let's see.
talking about your butt pee.
Yeah, they're dropping slowly. We'll see. I haven't offended everybody yet. I can get there.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
Somebody said, but why? That's a good question. It actually definitely would not happen. That's not a real thing. That's just, for shits and grins. See what I did there? For shits.
Man, $1,000 EDC. That's easy. That's too easy. My knife that's coming on Saturday is $1,000. So that's an easy one. But I could do it. I could make that a video.
1,000.
But the thing is, I'm going to lose about I don't know, $800 on making that video.
Oh yeah, dude.
I need to get a sponsor for that one.
For
So
sure.
that's possible. But anyway,
For sure.
thank you guys
Adios,
for hanging
bitches.
out. It's time to wrap this up. Jeremy,
Glad
next week are we doing?
time to
Are we
go.
going to do a regular episode or a Friday night next week?
Is next week the first? Dude, this is Corona hair if I've ever seen it. Next week is the first Friday of the month.
Yeah.
Let's do a Friday then. Let's start
that.
Let's try it. Let's try it for a couple months and see.
I'm supposed to go camping, but I don't know that that's going to happen. So we'll
if it does, then we can talk. But if it doesn't, we can do a
just stay tuned. We'll announce it on social media and everywhere else too. So
right.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you guys for hanging out.
Thanks, guys.
You can support us since we're not monetizing the show or anything yet. You can support us by hitting the links down below. You can follow us. There's merch from both of us down below. All that. Just show notes. It's all there. Thanks.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Patina butt pee later.
See you guys.
Patina.